Welcome to David Bradley Show with your host, David Bradley.
Hey everybody, how you doing today? Hope your commute to work or coming home from work or going to the gym or whatever you're doing and you're trying to listen to somebody talk and take your mind off everyday life is doing well. So we're going to have some fun today, and this guy is in a really good up-and-coming band, Slickson Revolver, and we're going to sit here and have a little conversation with Brandon Miller. Hey, Brandon, how's it going, buddy?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm pulling my hair out. That's why I put this hat on, because it's starting to get bald up there at the top, so I got to watch it.
I got that David Lee Roth effect going for me right now, so I'm hanging on to it as long as I can.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's something else. It kind of, you want to go back and just look at your mom and go, hey, why didn't you tell me this? Because it comes from your mom's side of the family, from what I understand.
Comes from my father's side of the family.
You never know, man. So tell me about this band, brother. What made you get all this started, man?
Well, it kind of started with I got asked to go play with the Artemis Pyle Band. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame drummer for Skinner, Dave Fowler, got me to come and play for them. And while I was out there on tour with them with 38 Special, Dave was like, man, he said, you ever want to do some original music? We got a studio in Nashville with Kent Wells, Dolly Parton's producer.
Yeah.
And so if you want to do something original, let me know. And I thought about it. Well, hell, I've been at this for 13 years now. Hell, I might as well do something original. And so I had some songs in mind for several years and finally put them together. And then we went in the studio and cut this record. And then I contacted some guys that were badasses, and drummer and bass player, and my lead guitar player, Zach Lane. He's a TikTok sensation right now.
Right.
He's 20 years old, but he graduated from Berkeley School of Music. I mean, he's a monstrosity of a guitar player, and I got him involved. He's actually on the record, and we cut these 7 songs, one of them being a 50th anniversary tribute to Freebird.
Yeah, I seen that. It was pretty cool, man.
Well, thank you. And me and Zach got invited to Gary Rosic's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away in Jacksonville, and then I got all these guys together and we started jamming these songs out. And next thing you know, hell, we're out here trying to get on tour and get on the road and start playing. With the album drops the end of this month. So
oh, cool.
So things are going to change drastically once it hits.
Yeah, so you got a date on it?
Not confirmed yet. I'm waiting on a distribution to give me a confirmation of when they're actually going to release it.
Right.
So it's supposed to be the end of this month. But
yeah.
As soon as I know, I will definitely put it out there.
So who wrote the songs? Did you write the songs?
I did.
Or?
Yeah,
okay.
I wrote and composed everything.
Because I remember how, did you see the documentary on Skinner?
Yes.
How they used to do the songs and everything?
Yeah.
See, that's the way we always did songs back in them days, man. Right. I mean, we just all got together and the band jammed out and somebody was like, I can put words to that. Hang on, and
Yep.
It just all flowed together.
Yep.
And a lot of people they're totally away from that now. I don't understand why. It's more fun, I think.
Yep, I agree.
She's just over laughing at me now.
Me, unfortunately, I had to pretty much do it on my own, because I didn't have an official band at the time.
Right.
It's just something I decided to do. And then once I started, it all just kind of fell in place.
Well, it helps out too, because you play guitar and
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. And then
all the guys I have on the record that were musicians. I mean, my drummer on the record was the drummer for Charlie Daniels, Jack Gavin.
Yeah.
And my keys player was Dane Bryant, which he's also a producer himself, but he's played for what I understand, if I remember right, he plays for like Carrie Underwood and several other big artists. He played for Clint Black for over 20 years, touring with him, and then I had Dave Fowler played bass on everything, and then I done all the guitar work and all the vocal work, except for on Crossroads, the first guitar solo is Zach Lane, and then on one of my power ballads called Let Me Love You Again, Zach plays the lead guitar solo on it.
Okay.
So he's featured on two of the songs as far as the lead work, but everything else is completely me guitar-wise.
Yeah. Now, Fowler's a beast on the bass now.
Yes. There's a song that we done called I'm Overdue. It's like a It's almost like an 80s hard rock ballad. No, 80s hard rock shred song. And Dave plays bass on it. And he played one of Billy Sheehan's from Mr. Big and David Lee Roth band, one of his signature basses on that. Billy gave him on that track.
Oh, dude.
It sounds freaking awesome.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can't wait to drop that song.
Oh, it's amazing how a lot of them do that stuff, man. I mean, what I love is you'll catch them, and they've played with this band and this band, and the whole time, only thing they've done is fine tune that whole craft, man. And then when you pick them up, they're right there where they need to be, man.
Yeah, when we started working on I'm Overdue, I mean, it's a fast, hard rocker. I mean, it's one of those that's in your face headbangers. And, you know, I told Dave, I said, just have fun with it. Write your parts however you want to do it. So you hear what I'm playing, you just write your own stuff. So everything there bass wise is Dave was having a good time. He was tapping on the bass.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I knew you had it in you. He don't get to play like that a whole lot. He mainly does country and Southern rock. And I knew he had it in him, you know, and I was like, dude, you're playing like Billy Sheehan. He's like, man, I wish I could play like Billy Sheehan. I'm like, dude, you're discrediting yourself way too much. I'm like, I think you and old Billy Sheehan could jam it out on stage all day long.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I had my cousin actually. He plays bass. He's played bass his whole life. Shout out to Jody. Boom. But he's played bass all of his life, man, and he's phenomenal. And he's up there in that, you know, Illinois area, Chicago area and stuff. So he plays all those clubs and stuff. And I asked him one day, I said, how many songs do you actually know? Because, you know, you go to some places and you see they got the phone up there or they've got some kind of sheets or something that they're playing off of.
Right.
He doesn't. He will take and learn a freaking song. Like Sunday when I was up there, I was getting ready to leave, and he was fixing to pick up the bass and sit there and learn 5 songs and then go to practice 3 hours later.
Yeah.
And I know he nailed it. He always does. And it's just phenomenal how some of them guys do that stuff, man.
That's what Dave did. He told me a story one time about he got a call last minute from Billy Bob Thornton. It was his band, was it the Band Masters or the Box Masters or something?
I don't even remember.
But he called him up and said, hey, you know, we need a bass player. Can you come fill in? I think it was in Florida or something like that, or maybe Alabama. And so they sent Dave the set list, and he actually charted out the songs, writing in the car down there. He got his buddy to drive him down there to the show. He charted them out and played them in the car on the way down there. And when he got to the show, he got there like just in time for like sound check.
Yeah.
And they played the whole set like at sound check. And you know, he said that Billy Bob was like, you just learned all these songs like on the way down here in like a 4 or 5 hour period. It's like, yeah. And it was like note for note. And I'm like, that's Dave Fowler for you, man. I mean, that's just Dave's a monstrosity.
He's badass, man.
Oh, yes, he is.
I love listening to him, especially whenever he's on any album and stuff. You can always tell it's him, though. Always.
Yeah, he's got a certain sound, but he is the most humble man on the entire planet.
That's the best way to be.
I mean, he is like the sweetest guy in the world. And like you give him a compliment. He's like, oh man, I don't know, man. You know? I'm like, no, I know. I'm like, dude, your best buddies with Billy Sheehan. Like you and him go have lunch together. Like that says all I need to know about you.
Oh yeah.
You know?
That's it.
You know, he's a badass. And, but he played bass on he played on bass on my entire record. Mm-hmm. But the way he played, when we done the 50th anniversary of Freebird, when he plays bass on it, it's as close to Leon Wilkeson as it could get, especially during the solo section.
Yeah.
You know, the way they done it in the studio record, that was actually Ed King that played bass on the studio cut. But live, Leon, he was like a lead bass player. He played a lot, kind of like Billy Sheehan, just a shredder on the bass. And Dave really done a great job capturing that live performance. Because what we done, we recreated the Live at the Fox 1976 off of the One More from the Road album. Mm-hmm. We recreated it from start to finish.
So what made you want to do that?
Freebird's my number 1 favorite song. That's the reason why I even got into music.
Well, I grew up with it.
You know, that was I was 6 years old, and my father was flipping through channels one day, and Freebird, the movie, had just come out.
Right.
And it was on CMT. Mm-hmm. And right when he flipped over to CMT, it was the verse. Billy Powell had just come out of his main solo in the middle of the song, going into the second verse when Ronnie sings, bye, bye, baby, it's been a sweet love. That's right when the TV lit up. Right. And they were playing at Oakland Coliseum in 77. Mm-hmm. And opening for Peter Frampton. Right. And I was like, I saw Ronnie. I'm like, that guy looks cool. I like his hat. You know, I thought he looked cool. And then all of a sudden the camera zooms out, and then I saw Alan Collins, who was like 6'5" and a beanpole.
Oh, he's a big dude, though.
You know, he was tall and lanky, but he had this luscious mane of wild ass hair, and then he had that 58 Gibson Explorer, that Carolina yellow. And I was like, these guys just look cool, but I really like him. Like, Ronnie was awesome, but I like this guy. He was wearing all white.
Yeah.
You know, and had that gold Explorer. He just looked like a god. You know what I mean? Like, this guy looks cool. And then all of a sudden he rips into the solo, and I saw the crowd. It was like 125,000 people there. And I saw how they were just going nuts. And I was like,
goes every time.
And
every time.
I had never seen a concert before, because I lived in the backwoods, country kid. Like, we didn't go to concerts. We didn't go to anything like that. So I was completely ignorant to it. And I was like mesmerized immediately. I was like, whatever these guys are doing, that's what I want to do. And then from that point on, it was like Leonard Skinner to everything. Yeah. You know, I got all their CDs and was listening to them. And from that, and like Freebird was the reason why I even got into music at all. Yeah. And April 3rd, 1973 is when they actually recorded that song in Doraville, Georgia. So I wanted to do a 50th anniversary tribute, you know, to them. So we recreated Live at the Fox, and we released it on April 3rd, 2023, 50 years to the day.
Sweet.
So it was really cool. And that wasn't on purpose, but I was going to release it earlier. Yeah. But it actually took longer than expected to get it mixed and mastered right, because I thought my mixer engineer was going to kill me, because I was so picky about it. It all had to be a certain way, and it had to be as close as possible to the live record. Yeah. And
well, that technology that they used back then, they don't use it anymore.
No, they don't.
So it's real hard to replicate.
Right. So like I was sending him like, go to 1 minute and 37 seconds to 1 minute and 47. Listen to this detail of the original, and then try to capture that on mine. Like, I drove him insane.
Oh, I can imagine.
The finished product was worth it. I mean, he eventually was like, look, this turned out really, really good. Like, you know. And so I was like, I knew what I wanted, but I'm not an engineer. I didn't know how to get it, but I knew what I wanted. Right. So I just kept sending him clips of like, listen to this. This is what this needs to sound like. So I was calling and texting, and finally we got it done, and it turned out great.
Yeah, I've heard it. It's actually really, really good.
Thank you. It was a lot of work. I mean, we it's like when we were on the Stone Roadie show with Craig Reed, the longtime roadie for Skinner, me and Zach Lane. The best way I described it when we were doing that song in studio is like, we nerded out on it big time. Like we used, like when I played Alan's solo, I used a 75 PV Mace, the same amp that Alan used at that performance. Right. Through a 4x12 cab with his 64 Gibson Firebird.
Sweet.
And like, so we used the same amp, same guitars, same setup. And I asked Craig Reed, I'm like, what is his tone knob set at on the amplifier? And he said, we just maxed everything out to 10 and let it rip. Yeah. The only thing we didn't mess with is they had some built-in effects. Yeah. He said, we left all that off. We just wanted the straight amp. Yeah. So I just maxed everything to 10. That's what's on the record. I mean, I got it as close to them as we could. And then we used a 61S Rosington SG that I actually built, you know, for that track. Zach played slide on it. Yeah. You know. So everything is detail accurate as far as guitars and amplifiers that they use live on that Pacific performance.
That's hard to do too.
Yeah. I mean, we went extreme with it, but we wanted it to be right. We didn't want to use a PRS to mess a boogie, you know, to play Skinner or whatever. Like, we wanted everything to be detail accurate to what they did when they actually recorded it.
So, yeah, because they didn't make Orange and Crunch back then, so.
No, I mean, they had oranges back in the 60s, but, you know, but Skinner used, in the early days, they were using Marshalls and high watts. And eventually they got their endorsement thanks to Kevin Elson. And I think it was January, it was either December of 74 or January of 75, they got their endorsement with PV. Yeah. And they got all the PV Maces. But something that's cool about that is when they got their endorsement with PV, all the PV amps were black, wrapped all in black. Well, Skinner said, look, we want our amps wrapped in tweed. So they're like old Fenders, but their PV's wrapped in tweed. Well, Heartland PV didn't want to do that. He's like, that's just extra work. A while. He's like, no, if you want us to be under your roster, we want our amps to look different. So they're like, when you build our PV Maces, wrap them in tweed.
Yeah.
So if somebody out there in the world has a PV Mace wrapped in tweed, you have a high dollar amplifier, because that was specifically for Skinner. And a lot of that stuff was disposed of in the 80s when the band was over. You know, a lot of that stuff was just sold off for little or nothing.
Yeah, that ain't right.
Know, it sucks. A lot of that stuff was in warehouses, you know, and then Craig Reed and some of those guys, they were like, what do y'all want to do with it? And a lot of the families were like, just get rid of it. You know, we don't need it. But little did you know, now that stuff is worth a fortune.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but back then they didn't look at it. They looked at it as reminders of a rough time.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you know, especially when, you know, you say, you know, we're done, the band's done, we're done. They start liquidating.
Yeah. And
a lot of really good stuff ends up going to pawn shops and individuals, and you got rare stuff out there, man. You ain't no telling where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, I don't know if this is for 100% fact, but I've heard that they had several like storage rooms and warehouses in Jacksonville slam full of PV stuff, like PV bass cabs, guitar cabs, 4x12 cabinets, all this stuff. That was all Skinner's gear back in the 70s. And then it had been in there for so long that a lot of it had just rotted and just fell apart. But some stuff was still good. But they just threw it all in dumpsters from what I was told what happened.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, man, that stuff could have been restored and sold for a fortune today.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And, but, you know, 10's another half a dozen. You know, it is what it is now.
Well, just remember to keep all your stuff in a nice, safe, dry space.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, because I use a lot of old amps. I have a couple of Plexis, and I have a JCM 800, then I have a Slash signature amp, and then I use I actually got to where I'm using Boss Katanas a lot, a solid state amp, but you can get some amazing tones out of them things if you know how to dial them in right.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to know how to play with them.
Yeah.
Get them dialed in. But
I actually we went to that big guitar show that was down here in Franklin, and I think it was 2 or 3 months ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. Somebody look it up. Let me know. Anyway, we went down there, and there was a guy out there that was actually building new tube amps. And you couldn't beat that sound, man. I mean, it sounded awesome. But he's not doing those big, the big cabs. It's just like a little cab, and ain't but like 4 foot tall and maybe 2.5 foot wide. But dude, the tone and the sound coming out of that thing, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, there's a guy in Birmingham, Alabama. Last name is Granger. I can't remember what his first name is.
Yeah.
I think it's Granger. He builds, they're basically Marshall Plexis. They're identical, but they're Granger or Grange. Forgive me if I got it wrong, buddy. I apologize. I think it's Granger. But man, a buddy of mine used one in a Skinner tribute, and that thing was incredible, but also extremely loud.
Yeah.
It was loud as hell. But the tone was fabulous out of it. And it looks identical to a Marshall, like an old Marshall.
Right.
And but I've always wanted one, but I couldn't afford one. They're several grand, but they're worth it if you can afford it.
Yeah. That'd be the last one you buy, maybe. Who knows?
Yep.
So with this, when you got the Skinner bug and all that other stuff, did you start doing tribute bands or anything, or? No,
I mean, I discovered Skinner when I was 6, and I didn't get serious with guitar until I was about 11.
Yeah.
I was just a kid and just get frustrated because I wanted to shred, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And
well, that's the start to a good shredder.
Oh yeah,
not knowing what you're doing and then just winging it.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was breaking strings. And, my brother had this piece of shit Korean. It was called a Cruise guitar that my folks bought at a pawn shop for my brother.
Yeah.
And he blew the little amplifier that come with it. I remember he was up there trying to play Metallica one day, and he was banging on it, whatever, and all of a sudden this damn speaker popped, a little bitty thing, and smoke come out of the speaker. I thought that was cool as hell, and but it had 4 strings on it, and it was just in his closet. So I went up there and got it out and thought I was cool as shit, even though I couldn't play nothing. But
you could do the Pete Townsend wing and all that good stuff.
I would try to do like Alan did. I would in my room when nobody was home.
Yeah.
I would put the guitar on and and try to do the jump that he does on Freeburg, the climax part. And I would try to do the jump, and I'd bust my ass every time. I was a little too big and clumsy for that, and but I picked out a lot of stuff on that guitar with 4 strings on it. They were so damn rusted, dude. My fingers would be orangey and shit by the time I got done with it. And but then my father, when I was about 11, he bought me one of them little starter pack.
Like the Squire starter pack?
It was a Yamaha, actually, back then. It was a Yamaha starter pack. Had a little bitty piece of shit Fender amp, and it looked like a Fender strap, but it was a Yamaha. It was a piece of junk, but it had 6 strings on it, and I was happy as hell about it.
Oh, yeah.
So I picked out, I think the first notes I picked out for a hard rock or like metal song was typically Crazy Train. I would just do the don't.
Yeah.
Just one string, I thought I was cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, the following summer, Gary Rosington played this 59 Ice-T Burst Les Paul. He called it Bernice. And I wanted a guitar like that because I loved the way it looked.
Yeah.
And so I found one on eBay back in this was like 2002, 2003. And I worked all summer and saved up $300. I thought $300 was a shit ton of money, and I'm like, I needed like $3,000 to get what Gary had, but it wouldn't have been a real 59. It'd have been like a reissue, but I found one on eBay, and I didn't pay attention to the headstock on it. So, but it had the Ice-T Burst finish on it. It was very similar to what Gary had, but it looked like a Les Paul, but it was called a Davidson. And
I have not heard of it.
So I ordered this thing thinking I was getting a Gibson Sunburst or Gibson Ice-T finish Rosington Les Paul for $300.
Yeah.
If I was a kid, I was an idiot. And it come in, and I opened it up, and the body is completely flat. Like, it's not even an arch top. It's completely flat, but it's shaped like a Les Paul, and it's got Davidson on the headstock. I was butthurt to hell and back. I was so damn mad.
Damn.
But I plugged it in and half-ass tuned it up because I didn't even know how to use a tuner back then, but I could kind of tune slightly by ear. And I tuned it up, but it actually had a fairly decent sound to it, even though it wasn't a real Les Paul. It was a really shitty knockoff. And but it actually sounded good. But that was like my main guitar for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of Skinner stuff on that, and and then once I got it, I didn't get over my Skinner craze, but it kind of introduced me to other stuff. Once I discovered Randy Rhoads, and then I discovered Slash, and then Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
That sealed my fate right there. Like, my folks were about to freaking kill me because like I wanted to immediately get a Marshall.
Yeah.
And I got this mini. It was like a mini full stack Marshall, and I would crank that damn thing to hell and back.
Yeah, but you didn't want that one. You wanted the full double.
I wanted the real deal, but my folks were like, no, that little thing right there is about to drive us nuts.
You'd have blown the windows out of the house.
Yeah, literally. Like, my dad would have come in there and shoved a shovel through the speakers. I mean, he would, because my pops, and they got aggravated with me a lot with that stuff. And eventually I moved it all out to the shop, out of the house.
Yeah.
Because as I got older, as a teenager, I would get money and I would go to the guitar store and buy the used stuff. So I finally got my first, it was a 4x10 Marshall cab.
Right.
Well, I thought I was bad.
Oh, you was a rock star then, man.
I brought that thing home, and I had this 100 watt MG series head, one of the first solid state Marshalls, and I figured out how to dial that thing in pretty good for a solid state, and I plugged that thing into that 4x10, and I cranked it up to 10. And it was so damn loud in that house. Like, I couldn't even think straight. But I was sitting there playing. I was trying to play the intro to Lay It Down by Rat, and I couldn't play it worth a crap. But that first down, I could do that first part, but I couldn't do that walk up. But man, it sounded cool because I could feel the floor vibrating under my feet. I'm like, this is what it's like to be a rock and roller. This is cool. Yeah. And and then, but by the time I was probably 16 or 17. I got my first actual Les Paul, Les Paul Studio. My dad actually surprised me with that.
Yeah.
He got me a Les Paul Studio, and cause and me and one other guy in school, and were like the only two that had Gibsons, even though they weren't high dollar ones. They were still a Gibson.
I mean, the studio I mean,
It's
to me,
still one of my
it's a
favorite
damn
guitars.
good guitar.
It's still one of my favorite guitars. Now I've hot rodded it because I'm endorsed by Ernie Ball and EMG.
Yeah.
And but years ago when Zach Wild come out with the Zach Wild EMG 8185 pickup set, I was like, I love the way his guitar sounds. I want mine to sound like that. So I had my guitar tech back then put me some EMG 8185s in it.
Yeah.
And the only thing stock on my first Les Paul is the body.
Yeah.
Like everything else has been hot rodded. And I will put that guitar at $800. It was $800 back then.
Yeah.
And now they're like $16.99. It's crazy what they're selling for now. But I will put that guitar up against any custom shop. Straight a $10,000 Murphy's Lab. I will put that guitar up against one, tone wise, playability, everything. And I broke the headstock on it twice.
You know,
And I'll still put it up against anything.
I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that tell me, and I don't know how true it is, but I'm willing to, lean to believe in them because I don't play guitar. So, but everybody has told me the best way to get the best sound out of a Les Paul is break the stock.
Probably so. I broke it twice on mine, and I've had it repaired twice.
Yeah.
And it's already fractured again, but it's still hanging on. So if it snaps off this time, I just don't glue it back on and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said they've gotten better tone out of it and everything else, and the playability actually increases a lot too. And I'm just like, God, don't all y'all go out there and start breaking stocks, man. Come on.
Yep.
Because there's somebody out there going, hey, what if?
Yep, I was a Les Paul guy most of my guitar career. That's about all I ever played was Les Pauls, and mainly because of Gary Rosington and Randy Rhodes. I always wanted Randy's 74 custom shop, but they're high dollar. They're like $20,000 if you can even find one, especially the Gibson, the Gibson models. But but then when I went into the hard rock 80s hair metal craze for a while. Like I was big into all that stuff. I'd done a lot of hair metal tributes and all that stuff. And then, but I found myself going back to my roots of Skynyrd and Southern rock, blues, blues based type rock. And I was like, I just kind of drifted back to it. And then I come across a Gibson Firebird. Yeah. And, I never played one because you don't see them.
No, you don't really
see Firebirds at all.
And from what I understand, because I had a buddy of mine that had one, and he loved it better than the Les Paul.
I love mine.
It was just something about the playability on it, the weight, everything. Yeah. It was just balanced better, I guess.
Yeah, the bodies on it, so like the Thunderbird basses, which is basically a Firebird but a bass model, they're neck heavy. So a lot of bass players, they can't stand them. Yeah. But the Firebird 6-string electrics, they're like, I can put one of mine on and they don't fall down. Like it stays perfectly balanced upright, the way I like it. And also the way they're cut. If you do a lot of heavy leads up here, 15th to the 21st fret, the way they're cut out. Yeah. You can hit those high notes very easily without having to, like a Les Paul, they got that swoop right there. Yeah. A lot of times you got to really contort your fingers.
Oh, you got to really
to get on that 24th fret. And, so I was like, this is cut out really good. So like, I see why Alan played these so religiously. And then, so I got my first, it was a Pelham Blue 2017 Gibson Firebird. I bought it in Birmingham, Alabama. And then I hot rodded it. No, I put the Alan Collins short Maestro tremolo on it. I wanted it to look like his, but but mine's blue, and his was a 64 tobacco finish. Well, not like a tobacco finish. It was like a vintage sunburst, but it looks more like a tobacco finish. But that's what they called it. And and then when COVID hit, I was like, I was playing a lot, and then everything shut down. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm bored. I need to do something. So I started my own guitar company doing custom guitar work. And
I think that's how TikTok got so big.
Probably so. People got so bored. Yeah. They were finding something.
That's what I did.
And, so I started my own guitar company, and then I was like, I need to figure out some way to make some extra money because hell, I can't work. I can't play music. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And so I started actually building the Leonard Skinner signature, like what you would call signature guitars. Mm-hmm. You know, I built Alan's '58 Gibson Explorer. I started building replicas of it.
Yeah.
And putting them online, and hell, I started selling them like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, damn, people actually want these guitars.
Yeah.
It's actually, oh, cool. Because Gibson made a run of them in '03.
Yeah.
And they built, I think it was 300 of them. But,
Yeah, and they're gone. You'll never find them.
but from what I read, they had a hard time trying to sell them because this was in '03. You know, Alan passed away in '90. I think it was too early. I think
Possibly.
if they'd have waited another 10 or 15 years and then done it like they're doing now, the Murphy's Lab stuff is selling for crazy money. And I think if they'd have waited up until like today to do something like that, I think they would have sold for even probably more money. But I started building the '58 Explorers, and you know, I sold quite a few of them. And then I cooked up the wild dumbass idea of wanting to build Alan's '64 Firebird 3.
Right.
And that took me 3 years to do because
Just
part
one?
for that one guitar. I'm the only one in the world that's built one to identical specs, 100% inside and out.
Yeah.
My buddy Steve Reynolds, who played in the second form of the Alan Collins band, even though they actually didn't take off and tour, Alan started because he started the Alan Collins band in '83. They cut a record, then the band fell apart. Mm-hmm. And then he started to form another lineup of the Alan Collins band, but it never went anywhere. But Steve Reynolds was his drummer for the second form. And well, when Alan died, Larkin Sr., Alan's father, gave that signature Gibson Firebird 3, which the headstock was broke off of it.
Yeah.
And he gave that to Steve. Well, Steve had it from '90 to 2016. And then he finally was like, you know, I'm going to have this thing semi-restored and put back together. So he got Dale Roberts in Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to Dale. Love you, bro. To hand carve a headstock.
Yeah.
Because he's a master luthier and woodsmith. Mm-hmm. And he hand carved a headstock for it and form fitted it and splined it in and everything and restored it to what it was prior to the break. I mean, it's so perfect. You can't even tell that the headstock was even gone. Like Dale done an incredible job. He had, so
I love the craftsmanship on that stuff.
Oh, it's amazing. And I've got pictures of it. Dale sent me because I told him, I was like, I want to build this thing, my own, version of it. And so he sent me a lot of detailed photographs that nobody else has.
Yeah.
So I got the guitar finished, I think probably about 6 months ago, right at the beginning of this year, I think January, February. And I brought it up here, and Dave Fowler is good friends. He's friends with everybody.
Well, yeah. Except me, I don't know him. So that's the way it goes.
He's good friends with Tom Murphy of Murphy's Lab. And so I told Dave, I said, I would love to get this in front of Tom and let him look at it. So he set me up a private meeting with Tom at Carter's Vintage Guitars. And I brought it in, got it out, and Tom was, to my surprise, very impressed with my work. And
cool.
And he signed off on it. I got a video of it, of our meeting on my social media and everything. So people that think I'm full of shit, go look.
Yeah,
it's there. I mean, I went so extreme with it to the point where I got all vintage, like the exact pots that Alan had in his guitar, the same toggle switch, the same diodes, the same input jack. I mean, everything is identical. Even the color coding and color of the wiring is correct. The direction the wire was ran through the body.
And that was hard to find out, wasn't it?
Yes. And I only got that information because of Dale.
Yeah.
Dale had, because when he got the guitar, he told me the story. So I remember I was in the shop and someone come in and rung the bell at the front of the store. And so I walked up there, and it's this little bitty short guy with this old guitar case. And he's like, hey, I said, I got a Skinner guitar I need you to look at for me. He's like, dude, I've been in business like for almost, I think he said business like almost 40 years now. He said, I've had people come in here say, oh, I got so-and-so from Skinner. This was their guitar. And 99.9% of the time it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, pal, whatever. He said, all right, let me see it. So he said, Steve set the case up on the counter. And he said, I popped the latch. So I raised it up. He said, dude, every hair on my body stood up. He said, I knew what it was immediately.
Yeah.
He said, I looked at him. I looked at the guitar. He's like, is that Alan Collins guitar? He's like, yeah, that's his Gibson Firebird. He was like, this is the one he used on Old Grey Whistle Test. And for those of you that don't know, go look up Skinner Old Grey Whistle Test 1975. That guitar Firebird Alan's playing is the one that I built and the one that Steve had.
Yeah.
And so he's like, dude, he said, I just froze. He's like, that was the first time that someone actually brought something legitimate into my shop.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was so scared to bring that guitar into my shop. He said, because I'd had people break into my shop before and steal guitars.
Mm-hmm. And they would have been beating the door down then.
Yeah. He said that they'd have drove a dozer through there to get that down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, he said, once I finally got over my nerves, I said, what do you want me to do with it? He said, I want you to fix it, make it where it can be played again. He's like, I would be honored to do this. He said, but I don't have enough insurance to insure something like this. He's like, I'm not worried about that. He said, you just take care of it. I heard you were the best, so take care of it.
Yeah, but you're talking $800,000 guitar probably.
It sold. Steve was forced to sell it a few years. I think about last year he was forced to sell it because his wife come down with some pretty serious illness, and that was the only thing he had that was of value. So it has been sold. But it's with a collector in Las Vegas, from what I was told. So it's in a safe place. But it broke Steve's heart to have to sell it.
Oh, I can imagine.
But he had to take care of his family.
Yeah,
so
family first, man.
I definitely get it. And but Dale told me, he said, dude, I would take it home every night, bring it with me every morning. He said, I would never leave that guitar in that shop.
With a 12-gauge shotgun on my side.
And because the guitar sold for over $100,000.
Yeah.
And I think it would have sold for more because I think he sold it during the pandemic.
I figured it would have went for a lot more than that.
It's over $100,000, but I think it was sold at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I think if he had waited till after the pandemic or even before, when people weren't scared to spend money.
Yeah. Because we were down there at that guitar show, and there was an old acoustic down there.
Right.
And that thing, don't quote me on it, but if I remember correctly, it was $147,000 for this acoustic guitar.
I'm not surprised.
And I was just like, dude, good God.
Yeah.
And just think of all those guitars they broke on stage and everything else and just throw it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a friend of mine. I ain't gonna say his name, for privacy purposes, but he's very big in the industry, and he's got Johnny. If I remember right, it's Johnny. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Johnny Cash's 1928 or 29 Martin that he wrote most of his big hits on.
Yeah,
and it's worth several $100,000. I think it's like $500,000 acoustic.
Yeah,
but
I wonder how much Willie Nelson's is going to go for, because the whole story about that guitar.
All of us.
You know the whole story on that guitar, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he has always said, when that guitar quits, I'll quit.
Yeah.
And he has played that daggum thing ever since he bought it brand new.
Yeah.
Have you seen it lately?
Yes. Oh,
it is beat all to hell.
But sounds amazing.
It's nylon strings.
It sounds amazing.
He has never done nothing else but nylon strings on that thing.
Yep.
It just amazes me.
A lot of people don't even know how big of a songwriter Willie Nelson is. Like, very few people know.
Oh, he was huge.
He's the one that wrote that Patsy Cline song, "Crazy."
Mm-hmm.
That was originally his song, and then Patsy made it into a girl hit.
Yeah. Well, for years, a lot of people, remember when Chris Christopherson come out with that movie, Rockstar or whatever it was. I can't remember the name of it. Wait a minute.
Yeah, they done a remake with Gaga.
Yeah.
A Star Is Born.
A Star Is Born. When that first come out, a lot of people didn't even know who Chris Christopherson was.
Right.
And then they all thought he was just a up and coming actor, and everybody was wooing over him and everything else.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, y'all don't realize how many songs this man has wrote.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of artists make most of their money off writing songs.
Yeah.
Like Prince wrote the song "Manic Monday" for the Bojangles. A lot of people don't know that's his song.
Yeah.
He's wrote several songs for a lot of really big artists. I mean, anybody from Prince, George Strait has wrote a lot of big hits for other artists.
For other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of them make most of their money.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the Alan Collins guitar. He got the guitar. Dale got the guitar finished, and then a lot of the local Jacksonville legends, you know, they all wanted to play it, and a handful of them did, but Steve was obviously really peculiar.
Oh yeah, I would have been too.
And I wish I would have been able to play it, but I wasn't able to get that opportunity. But I was able to get closer and in depth with it than just about anybody else. And Tom Murphy had mentioned, you know, possibly in the future, if they decide to do an Alan Collins Firebird 3 signature model, a limited run, that they would consider including me in that, because I have all the detailed information that nobody else does.
Yeah, everything. You've got the whole blueprint, basically.
I got everything in my phone and on my computer. Yeah. And I also printed out hard picture copies too. So if I lost those two, I still have them. And so yeah, I'm the only one in the world that's built one 100% detail accurate inside and out.
Sweet.
So I am honored to say that, and I have it on display in my at my house. So,
you know, it kind of makes me wish you brought it with you.
I had thought about bringing it this week, but honestly, I didn't even think about it. I wish I would have now, because I'd have loved to have shown it on here.
Oh yeah, it'd been awesome.
You know, but if I come back in the future, you know, I'll definitely bring it with me.
What do you mean if?
Okay. All right. Well,
when you want to come back, you let me know.
All right. Deal.
Or you let that crazy woman back there tell you.
Yeah, my crazy manager, Tara.
You know, I love the hell out of you. You're just so funny. Oh, God. Man. You know, we have totally went off anything about you besides the guitar and the building and all this other stuff. We ain't talked nothing about the daggone band, man.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and dive off in that.
Well, let's dive off in the band. You know, because there's people are going to want to know, because now that you've actually done the tribute,
right,
and everything else, and the album's coming out at the end of this month, we got to get you some views, man. We got to get you all kinds of stuff.
I have one song out already. It's only on YouTube right now and social media, called Crossroads.
Okay.
And no, it's not a cover of the Clapton song. It's my own. It does touch on, you know, the Robert Johnson story, you know, on that, because I'm from Mississippi. Hattiesburg, Mississippi is where I'm originally from. So I got a Mississippi root. So I touch on some of those subjects within the song. But I've got it out on YouTube right now, on my YouTube channel, Slickson Revolver. You can pull it up. It's pretty easy to find. I got it on there now. And then we just got booked 2 days ago. 2 or 3 days ago, I've got confirmation. We got booked for our first big headline show in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, cool, because I hadn't even heard that one yet.
Yeah.
So.
It's on July 29th. And it'll be in Jacksonville. I'm waiting to get confirmation of exactly where they're going to have it, because they may have to upgrade the area that they're going to have it at, because they've got so many people wanting to be part of this. It's a big fundraiser for the plane crash survivors, Skinnerd. And but they're bringing us in the headline, and then we're having another act play before us by the name of Sweet Melissa. She's awesome. She was signed with RCA Records.
Yeah.
She's great. And then I think they're going to have one or two other artists. And it's rumored, and it's set in stone, that it's possible that they're working on trying to get the surviving members of the Rosington Collins band and some of the Alan Collins band members to come back and do an all-star jam.
Right. And that'd be awesome.
That would be really cool, because they haven't done nothing since '83. Yeah, it's been 40 years. Yeah, you know, and so it's rumored that's in the works, but there's no guarantees. But it's possible. Yeah. But we're headlining that show, and so we'll be doing our album entirety, and then we're also going to throw in a few Southern rock covers, some Hatchet, 38 Special, stuff like that.
And see, that's another band that I feel like. They didn't get the cred that they deserved.
I agree.
38 Special, man. I mean, yeah, they had 2 drummers, and it was just.
Jeff Carlisi is one of the best guitar players in Southern rock. Yeah, in my opinion. And Don Barnes is one of the best singers. And I was fortunate enough to meet him when I toured with Artemis Pyle Band. Yeah, when we were opening up for them. Don, on the music video for "Hold On Loosely," when it starts, it shows Don Barnes with his red 58 double cutaway Les Paul. Yeah. He still plays with that live on tour today. and he had that guitar with him, and he was nice enough to let me see it in person.
Awesome.
So it was so cool because I remember being a kid when MTV still played music videos.
Well, yeah.
I remember seeing that music video because I loved the song and seeing that guitar. And I'm like, wow, here I am now grown, and here it is in reality. You know, it was really, really surreal. But Don Barnes was a very, very nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm that whole era because I remember when MTV first went live.
1980 or 81.
1981.
Yeah.
Video killed the radio star. Yeah. And I'm just like, MTV has killed the music.
Yeah, because it went back then you only in the 70s you really didn't see them in person unless you went to the concert.
Yeah,
and half the time you didn't know what they looked like.
Yeah, you didn't know nothing about them.
And by the time you're on TV, they're like, "We need to make you look better." You're not as pretty. And then by 83, 84, Motley Crue come out and they look like beautiful women.
Yeah, they were over pretty.
Right, and then God forbid when Poison hit.
Oh God.
I remember when I was a kid, my aunt Rosie, I love you. My Aunt Rosie had the Look What the Cat Dragged In record.
Yeah,
had all
yeah.
4 of them on there.
Yeah.
And I remember like 10 or 11 years old, I picked it up and looked at it. I remember telling my aunt, I'm like, these girls are hot. And she started laughing at me. She about fell out of her damn chair laughing at me. And she was like, Brandon, she's like, those are dudes. And I'm like, huh? And she was like, yeah. I said, they're Poison. They were an 80s glam band. Like they dressed up. They looked like drag queens.
Yeah.
But the girls loved it.
Oh yeah.
The girls loved it. They thought they were awesome. I'm like, these guys got more ass in a toilet seat.
Yeah. Well, see, Ricky Rocket, before they made that band, his main job was he was a hairdresser.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
And he done all the hair for them and everything,
That don't surprise me.
And then,
me and him are friends on Facebook. But we'll chit chat every once in a while. But like, none of them look like they did back then at all. The only one that still looks like himself is Brett.
Yeah.
Bobby Dahl and all them, like they don't look nothing like they did 5 years ago.
And then Bobby went through a heftier stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he cut his hair. I mean, everybody's done cut their hair.
Yeah, I saw on the the world tour with Motley Crue and Def Leppard when Poison was with them, CC DeVille. I had not seen him like publicly in several years, and when I saw the video of them playing, he had. They were extensions.
Yeah.
But he had this beautiful, perfectly straight hair that was like down to his knees.
Damn.
Like, it was so long. It was pretty. Don't get me wrong. It was pretty.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much did he pay for those extensions to be put in every day and set up so perfectly for his live show? I'm like, that is not his hair.
Well, a lot of people, what they do is they will actually go, and what they do is they braid it and glue it into the base of your other hair, and then string it down. Right. And what they're supposed to do is cut it at a certain length. Right. But evidently he left his longer.
It was so long.
But you pay an enormous price up front, and it'll stay in during the length of the tour.
Right.
And you won't have to worry about it. And then when the tour is over, you can do whatever you want to. Cut it, do whatever.
Yeah, it was interesting to see because I had not seen him with long hair since.
Well, even when they first come out, he didn't have long hair.
Yeah, it was.
It was spiked a little bit, and right here. Yeah. And well, that's where the whole Poison thing, because you was talking about, do you look like a lady and everything. That's where Steven Tyler come up with that song. Dude looks like a lady, and he was actually looking at Motley Crue standing at a bar.
That's right. Talking about Vince Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was the prettiest man.
They know about it. They knew how to dress, and the girls loved it. I mean, and a lot of times their girlfriends dressed them up. A lot of times.
Actually, a girl I was dating taught me how to do eyeliner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Every time I tried to wear that stuff, it got in my eyes and it burned like hell. Like, I don't know how the hell they did that.
Dude, it was old Maybelline eyeliner, and you took the lighter and you kind of went over the top of the lighter just a little bit to get it a little bit wet, and then you pulled your I am so telling off on myself, I swear to God.
Hey, we all were young.
You pulled your eyelid down and you just kind of drew it on there, and it would go on smooth and easy, and it wouldn't clump. It wouldn't do nothing. Huh. It was weird. I had a weird growing up, I swear.
Well, I wasn't around back then, unfortunately, but I've heard all kinds of crazy stories of what people did.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and the Bon Jovi jacket. Terry, you remember the Bon Jovi jacket, right? With the red fringe and well, the black. There was two styles. There was the black with the fringe, and then you had the red with the fringe. And then later on, you see one of the Queensryche's videos. I can't remember which one it was. But he had the straight bill hat. Mm. And then Dokken, the early guitar player, he had the same daggum hat. And it was like there was an era where everybody had this same looking little style.
Right.
And for some reason, I was always with rain. Dokken played in the rain on that song.
Right.
I can't remember what song it was. God, I'm old. Somebody look that up. I give people challenges. They got to look stuff up.
Yeah, yeah, and I've heard, my aunts told me stories about it. I remember back when I was in middle school in the 80s, she was like, all the kids wanted to wear the glitter glove like Michael Jackson did. Or
oh, God, yeah.
And they wanted the red Beat It leather jacket.
Yep, everybody wanted it.
Everybody had to, everybody that was diehard fans had to wear all that. She's like, there'd be, kids, whether it be black kids, white kids, Spanish kids.
It didn't matter.
Whatever. Like, they all would come to school with a glitter glove or the red jacket. Mm-hmm. They all wanted to be like Michael,
Yeah.
And it's just cool how stuff like that influences people.
I remember when I had, I bet I had probably 15, 20 kids at my house because we were the only house that was kid accessible back then that actually had cable and MTV. And when the Michael Jackson song came out, Thriller,
yeah,
we were packed in there. and then next thing I know, people are trying to do the dance.
Yeah.
And then the dance got big.
Yep.
Everybody was doing the dance.
Yeah, all the clubs would
everywhere.
Michael Jackson night, and everybody would do Thriller or try to anyway.
Oh yeah, and it was a great time, and I kind of miss them days because, like in high school with the Michael Jackson thing, you could be walking in between classes in the hallway and you'd hear somebody hoo way up there, and then somebody else would do it over here, and hell, let's all moonwalk to class, I mean.
It was just a cool time, and you don't see stuff like that in modern music today. You don't really have icons today like you did back then. Like you didn't, like there's no Elvises, there's no Michael Jacksons, there's no Axl Roses, there's no icons like that. Like there's not even really like guitar gods anymore. There's not. The only guitar god still around is like Slash and some of those guys. Yeah. But like in today's world, in the rock world, like there's no like guitar icons. There's no Eddie Van Halen's anymore. There's there's none of that. And it's like, what happened?
It makes you wonder. I mean, and I think one of the biggest drawbacks to all of it is actually the internet, because now you've got so many internet
guitar gods.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one chick that I've seen over and over and over again, and I can't remember her name. I ain't going to plug it anyway, but she sounds just like Stevie Nicks.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, I just say that right there. Everybody automatically knows who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But gosh, she's got a great voice.
Yeah.
But what's she done? Did it go anywhere? Did she build a career? These are stuffs that, I've asked that question and nobody really knows, but you see it on the internet.
Right.
And she's made a career out of what? 10, 12 songs maybe?
Right.
Every day on one of them over 1 million views, so, she's racked up a little bit somewhere.
Yeah. But you haven't heard her going on to make #1 records or anything like that. It's like that movie Walk the Line, when Johnny goes to audition for Sam Phillips. Mm-hmm. And, that line, that particular part of the movie really stuck out to me because the guy, Sam Phillips, the portrayal of Sam Phillips in that film to Johnny was like, we've heard that same song the same way, just like that, just the same way you're singing it. He was like, basically tell him like, I want you.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Quit trying to be so-and-so. Quit trying to be this. And look, and I've been guilty of it.
Oh, we all have been.
I've been guilty of wanting to be like Axl Rose. I've been guilty of wanting to be Slash or Alan Collins or whatever. and finally, like I finally learned my lesson on that. Like, quit trying to cover them all the time. Do you?
Yeah.
Naturally, you have those are your influences, but don't copy them. Don't cover their songs.
Oh, you got to come up with your own
Do
flavor.
your own thing. And going and back to my album, like when people hear my record, you will hear my influences immediately. It's a mix of Southern rock meets LA rock.
Right.
Like I've had more people compare that they said it sounds like Guns N' Roses and Leonard Skinner had a baby.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard people compare it to. And I'm like, well, that makes sense because like Skinner and GNR are like my two top bands outside of Journey. So I guess I'm hitting the mark of what I was going for.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do.
So.
And that's where a lot of people fail because they're still emulating. They don't know how to come up with their own sound.
And like every song on my record is different.
Yeah.
Like none of them sound the same at all. Like I have one song that's like a Journey song. I have another song that's like a Skinner song. I have another one that sounds like Guns N' Roses. I have another one that sounds kind of like Shinedown. I have influences from everything.
Right.
And the best way for me to put it, there's something on there for everybody.
Yeah. And see, that's what I like. I hate picking up an album because of the one song that I really like. And then 2 songs later, wait a minute. That sounded just like, what the hell? They changed the lyrics.
Right.
What?
More kind of like modern country, the cookie cutter country. A lot of times we have today.
Well, I'm probably going to get one day probably big time trouble for saying this all the daggone time, but I say this to a lot of people: quit going with the cookie cutters.
Yeah,
you got to stop doing that crap. Come up with your own.
Right.
I understand people need help, especially sometimes on the business side and this side, but keep control of your music.
Right.
Keep control of the direction you want to go.
Right.
And do it your way.
I agree.
I'm a Frank Sinatra fan.
Yeah.
I say this over and over. I don't know why I keep doing it, but he did it his way. Do it your freaking way. Because I'm telling you right now, some of these big heroes, guitar heroes, drum legends, bass legends, they didn't stop and go, am I doing this right?
Yep.
Should I do it your way? No, they said, screw you, and they did it their way.
Right. Well, that's like Guns N' Roses got, a few offers for different labels, but they were like, but the deal was you do things our way. It's like, no, we're cutting our record, not your record.
Exactly.
And Geffen, Tom Zutaut from Geffen was able to work that out for them and gave them free reign to cut their album. And then you got Appetite for Destruction, which is still one of the biggest selling rock albums in history.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they did it their way.
And, when they first come out, I couldn't stand them.
Really? I loved them immediately.
Because I had so many freaking friends that were just drowning it in my freaking ears all the time.
Well, I can understand that.
And his vocals was not the norm.
Yeah.
Not something I was used to.
Right.
So, and plus I was married at the time, and the wife I was married to at that time, God, I'm selling. Oh my God. Anyway, the wife I was married to then, immediate panty drop, Axl Rose.
Oh yeah.
And she was preaching it all the freaking time. And I'm just like, dude, you want to be with him? Go, bye. But it didn't work out that way. She stuck around for 5 more years. Ugh.
Well, at least you got 5 more out of it.
Yeah, well, 7 total. So
there you go. Well, Axl and those guys, they were, Sebastian Bach, they were good looking guys and they could sing their ass off, but well,
Sebastian Bach is like, 6'3", 6'4"? How tall is he, Tara?
6'4". He's my height.
6'4". But he was a string bean when he first started this.
Yeah.
And I was like, the first time I seen him, I was like, dude needs a cheeseburger, man.
They were all Coke addicts.
Well, yeah.
And Coke kills your appetite and ups your metabolism. So
it also helps your hair grow long and keeps you skinny and shutting up. But anyway,
well, hell, too bad it ain't good for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, it used to be when it was in Coca-Cola, but You know,
They X-nayed that.
yeah. I think the world been in a better place.
Lord knows David Lee Roth done his share of coke. Lord have mercy.
I think he's done everybody's share of coke.
Oh yeah, him and Eddie Van Halen both loved it.
Oh yeah, they were bad back in the day.
Yep. But back then you didn't really know how bad it was for you.
Yeah, and for the record, that's just hearsay. We do not have any proof of that whatsoever.
Wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, but and again, we done trailed off again. That's what I love about my show, man.
There's a lot of information to talk.
Oh yeah, it's fun. What? Tara's sitting over staring at me, y'all. I don't know if I'm getting scolded or if she's laughing or what's going on, but who knows? Yeah. She's got a smile. Okay, I'm happy.
Well, if you want to, we can dive into the record a little bit more. The album plans to come out at the end of this month, and I have a hard rocker on there, a fast, almost kind of hair metal style song that I got a high school close friend of mine featured on, named Chase West, and he plays for a band called the Velcro Pygmies. Shout out, love you guys.
Yep.
They're a cover group, but they also have original stuff too.
Oh, cool.
And great band. They put on a great show. I mean, Bret Michaels opened for them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're a big group. They're almost kind of like a southeast version of Steel Panther.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how they are. They do mostly covers, but they put on a show like those, like Steel Panther does.
I love Steel Panther.
Oh, they're great.
I'll sit and sometimes just watch their YouTube stuff that they've got out, man. And it's just the way they interact with the crowd, the whole 9 yards, and the whole joke part of it.
They have no fucks to give about
I know.
anything. I mean, they don't give a damn, dude. Like, they talk about it all.
Oh, yeah.
Drugs, sex, rock and roll, women, it doesn't matter. I mean, they don't care. They call it for what it really is. And, but I have Chase West featured on this song. I was really honored to have him because he is a monstrosity of a guitar player.
Awesome.
I mean, if he had a chance to be a guitar god, like if that was still a thing today, he would definitely be in the top 25 to top 50. And that's not just because me and him are childhood friends. Like he is literally that great of a guitar player. And I have him featured on that song. and
see, that's something I'm worried about in the future because who's the next guitar gods? You know, I mean, right now, technically, you ain't really got but a handful.
My God, you got 10-year-old Japanese kids that play as good as Steve Vai.
I know. It's maddening.
I mean, it's madness.
But that's all these kids do.
Yeah, that's all they do.
You know, especially with the freaking COVID and all that stuff. A lot of them come out during that part.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they've done that,
right.
You know. But I want to see the creativity. I mean, I don't want to see the mimicking, you know. Right. It that drives me nuts.
Right.
You know, kind of like you in the COVID, you was creative. You built guitars.
Yep. When you're sitting in the house for months at a time and you're just have nothing to do.
Yeah.
You can think of some awesome and some really weird shit.
Well, that's
I'm just
this is what I did, you know.
You can think of some weird shit when you're in the house for months at a time.
So we can sell this to the BDSM network and
Jesus God Almighty. Oh man.
Look, we built a new harness. Interesting.
Yeah, I just built a new swing. Let's try this thing out.
There you go.
Yep.
It's not the traditional one.
Well, most of those ones you can buy in the sex shop, they got them damn.
There's a weight limit.
Those straps, they're like nylon straps.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm a country boy. We use chains around here, babe.
That's our good leather.
Just coat them in rubber though, because that shit gets kind of rough on your hips. You
No,
know?
now rubber is a whole different thing.
I reckon. I guess it depends on you.
Well, you got the whole latex. People do stuff.
Well, the problem with latex is if you sweat on it,
I don't
break down.
I don't say how you get in it because I remember leather pants. You had to put baby powder all over your leg just to get the leather pants on.
Yep.
Because I always wore mine tight.
Mm-hmm.
I have people walking around the studio. Fine.
But anyway, we
I digress. Back to the music, man.
yeah. And then I've got another song called "The Luck Is on You," and then which to me, "The Luck Is on You," to me, it's kind of one of those songs I could probably line up with "Crazy Bitch" by Buck Cherry.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those kind of songs. I could hear it on modern rock radio all day long.
Yeah. And I love that song, Crazy
Oh
Bitch.
yeah, it's a great one. And then I have another one called "Never Fade," which it's kind of a ballad-ish. I guess it just kind of depends on how the listener wants to listen to it. That's one thing about music. It's all about your interpretation, how you want to take it. But I got that one, and then one of my biggest ones I'm really excited about is "Let Me Love You Again." It's a power ballad. To me, it's my Journey song.
Yeah.
And because I'm a diehard Journey fan. Steve Perry is my number one all-time favorite vocalist. So so when I done this record, I'm like, I want to do a song that's, you know, a Journey song, like my tribute to Journey. Like
Right.
If I was to write a song for Journey, what would it be? This is it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of one of those songs that I really feel is going to hit hard. So I'm looking forward to seeing how well it's received. I actually put up a teaser about it yesterday on my social media because I just finished the album yesterday, completely finished. And Dave Fowler was in the studio, and he actually got a video of me doing the outro to that song.
Awesome.
And I put it on my social media yesterday, and it's got like over 60 shares and a lot of comments, a lot of positivity, which I was really nervous about posting it because naturally I'm my worst critic.
Yeah. Well, everybody is.
But it's gotten very positive reviews so far, and I'm like, if y'all love the outro, I can't wait for y'all to hear the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I got Crossroads and Freebird that's already out.
Yeah.
So now it's only out on YouTube and social media. Now, by the end of this month, it'll be on all the songs will be on the album on all major platforms for streaming or digital download.
Yeah, Spotify, the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards, which I would love if y'all would just download the stuff instead of streaming it. You know, support your artist, people. Yeah, that would be great.
Well, it's you know, and here's something I've got to throw out there because, you know, you're talking about support the artist and everything else.
Right.
And I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I usually do it at the end, and I might do it again at the end. But look, y'all, when you go on YouTube or you're listening to this artist or wherever, social media, whatever, dude, y'all have got to hit like. You've got to hit subscribe. You've got to hit follow. You don't understand how much this helps people out, man.
It does. Because record labels, here's the thing a lot of people, listeners don't understand is in today's world, we're living the digital dream. Everything's digital, social media platforms. And a buddy of mine brought this up the other day. He said, because he's a major producer and he knows the industry very well.
Right.
He's like, in today's world, you could have a band or an artist out there with the next Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven, whatever it might be.
Yep.
He's like, but if they don't have at least 500,000 followers on every platform,
Yeah.
record labels will not even give them a second thought. It don't make a damn how good they sing, how good they sound, or their band could be Rush.
Yeah.
Their backing band could be Rush. It don't freaking matter. Like, you know, and that's the sad part is there is artists out there that will blow my ass off stage because I'm not cocky like that. You know, there's always somebody better.
Oh, always.
You know, but they will never get the opportunity that they deserve.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the money or the resources.
Yeah.
To get where they want to go.
Yeah, and that's why I've started basically putting that out there for everybody because I want people to understand, you know, it helps bands, singers,
absolutely,
country artists, rock artists. I mean, there's no genre it does not help.
Right.
It helps them all. And it helps podcasters because believe it or not, y'all, I don't care what anybody says. I honestly believe old time radio stations are going away.
Oh yeah.
And these podcasts, you've got a lot of podcasters that are coming up with their own music station.
Yeah.
And they're playing the real music.
Right.
They're not being told by any corporation what program to play, what song they've got to play at a certain hour. None of that crap.
Right.
And I think it's getting back to where I told somebody the other day, I think it's more like getting back to when your grandma and your grandpa back in the 1920s and 1930s, when that's all they had in the house for entertainment was that old radio. And sure enough, on that old radio, because I remember my grandmother telling me about it, they had different radio stations for different things.
Right.
Of course, they didn't have metal back then and all that other good stuff. There sure as hell wasn't death metal back then.
But they had like the Grand Ole Opry.
They had the Grand Ole Opry. They had their local radio station that was playing local artists. Yeah. Then you had like a cooking, you know, all kinds of different things. Right. Local news. It was all on that one little old radio sitting in the middle of the living room. Yep. And that's, I think, a lot of what the podcasters and everything else is. That's what we're getting back to.
Yeah.
People are tired of some stuff.
Right.
You know, and that's why I want everybody just like, share, subscribe, all your artists that you're into, because the algorithms that are out there now, everything else, and, you know, like Brandon just said, this helps out a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get a record deal without 1 million subscribers now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it really sucks. I mean, because there's some amazing bands out there on YouTube alone,
yeah,
you know, that will never get the time of day.
Yeah.
And it's terrible because these guys spend tens of thousands of dollars buying top-notch gear. Mm-hmm. They look good. You know, they're master shredders. That's all they do. They dedicated their life to music, and they will never get a chance to have a rock star life like Guns N' Roses and guys like that.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
There could be another Eddie Van Halen out there.
Yeah.
You know, but he never got airplay. He never got nothing.
Yeah. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in front of the right person.
Yep. And then he got married. He had 2 kids. He had to have a job. Then he got divorced. She took half.
Sounds like what happened to Slash, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That's what you get for getting married in California. I would never get married
and zero prenup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't care if you're standing on a daggum street corner nowadays. It almost pays to have a freaking prenup. I'm keeping this trash bag, that trash bag yours. You know, that's it. We done.
Oh, like every time I hear the word prenuptial agreement, I can't help but see Jim Carrey on Liar Liar dancing in the courtroom.
Oh, yeah.
Agreement. You know, that's all I think of is Jim Carrey when I hear that word.
That was the funniest freaking movie.
And then he crumbles up the papers and goes, a goose.
Yeah.
You remember that shit? I about died, man. That was one of my favorite films back in the day.
I like that one where he got in the elevator with that amply endowed woman.
Boobs are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to squeeze them.
Everybody's so nice to me. That's because you got huge boobs.
That's because you got big jugs. Mama. Yeah, that's right. Golly. I need to go watch that movie now. That's great.
It was hilarious when it came out.
Oh, God, yeah.
No, we're not plugging Jim Carrey in the movie.
I'll tell you, my son's name is Axel.
And, I wonder why.
I wonder why too. And he loves Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard to believe that Sonic is still a thing. It's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
You know? And he loves Sonic, and Jim Carrey is the antagonist character from the Sonic. I don't know. Was it Dr. Otto or Dr.
Oh, God.
Whatever the hell his name is. But Jim Carrey is in the new Sonic movies.
Yeah.
And, honestly, I watched the second one the other day with my wife and my kids and everything. We watched it the other day, and like I about fell the hell out laughing at Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
You know, when he was doing that, because like he was bringing back references from his old films.
Yeah.
Like he was quoting the spicy meatball from The Mask, and then he quoted several other films like the Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
You know, and like I was like, God, like this takes me back like 25 years ago when this stuff was coming out. Like I was like, it's so nice to see him back doing films again. But anyway, why the hell are we talking about Jim Carrey?
I don't know. You brung him up.
I know it. My bad.
This is your fault.
Well, let's
it was
get back
fun.
to Slickson Revolver.
It was fun.
Let's get back to business. Well, about my band members, my lead guitarist is Zach Lane.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a TikTok sensation. He's got like double digit, I think close to like 100,000.
Is he playing guitar on the TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he does a lot of cool stuff. You know, he covers all genres. You know, he can do anything from Pantera to, you know, country, like all kinds of stuff. Very versatile guitar player, and he's only 20 years old. That's the crazy part.
See if he can take country music and turn it into Pantera.
He probably could.
That's a new idea for his TikTok.
I'll make sure he gets that.
I want half.
That's right. And I got him on lead guitar, and he is just an absolutely incredible guitar player.
Yeah.
And then on drums, I have Egon Savino, who is from Brazil, completely Brazilian, but he's played with a lot of big bands all over the freaking country. And I think he's even worked with some of the 80s bands like Slaughter and bands like that. And then I have Ashton Blake, who is on bass. He's the lead singer for a band called Native Sons out of God, I want to say, I'm sorry, Ashton. Don't get mad at me. I want to say they're out of Kentucky.
I'm thinking they are, because I remember running across a Facebook post that was Native Sons.
Yeah.
Because I help out, they were on the show, Tattered Sons.
Yeah. And
they're out of Kentucky up there too.
Right.
And they've actually, they got a lot of good things coming down the pipe.
Yeah, they're a great band, and you know, but Ashton is the lead singer for Native Sons. He writes all their songs and stuff, and I got him playing bass for me. And, so it's kind of a mix of all different styles and genres into one. Because I'm a mix of like Southern rock meets LA,
right? And
then Zach is like, golly, he's so versatile. It's hard to really classify him, but he's from Virginia. Yeah. But he's a big Skinner fan like I am. So he's like Southern rock, you know, but also he can shred as well. You know, and then Ashton is a great bass player. He's big into hard rock and metal and Southern rock. And then we got Egon, who is like a hair metal drummer.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's like a hair metal drummer, but like he's one of the most badass, entertaining drummers I've ever seen. I mean, and he hits the kit so damn hard. He makes Tommy Lee like a choir boy. and I don't mean no disrespect to Tommy. I love you, buddy. But Egon is probably the hardest hitting drummer I have ever worked with.
God, he's got to go through some heads.
He hits so damn hard. I'm like, I don't know why his arms don't look like Popeye. You know, I mean, he hits the damn drum so freaking hard, and he's not even trying to. That's the crazy part. Like, that's just him.
He just gets into it.
He does. I mean, the closest one I could think that could hit maybe as hard as he did is maybe Joey Jordison from Slipknot. Yeah. You know, but other than that, I mean, Egon is just an amazing drummer, and he's so entertaining because he's a showman. Yeah. You know, and he's so 80s rock drummer. He's got the big rack drum set with all the cymbals, and it looks like White Snake. Yeah. You know, and then behind him he's got the big gong, the Led Zeppelin gong. Yeah. Big ass gong.
Yeah, the big one.
And he loves that damn thing. He'll I've seen him jump up on the freaking throne and grab the big gong thing and spin around on the damn throne and hit the damn thing. Yeah. And then jump around and land and go right back to playing again. Yeah. I mean, he's like an acrobat on the damn drum.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's some songs, because I played drums a little bit when I was like 16. I was trying to pick it up and learn it. And actually the first song I ever learned on the kit was Chain Lightning by 38 Special. Right. I just love that drum lick on that. Yeah. And Y'all look it up because it's a killer fucking song that got very little airplay. But I totally forgot where I was going with this story. Damn. But anyway, I got the drum kit and I played it for a little bit, but it just wasn't me, you know? And I sold the kit to this kid and he come in and sat down and just started, you know, trying it out, playing the hell out of it. Went right through the snare the first time. And I was like, hell, I've hit it as hard as I could. And he's just like, boom, right through it. And I'm like, hey, you bought the kit, dude. But
yeah, it's funny. Like I went to Egon's house last night because I finished my record yesterday, and I got to the hotel and he called me up. He was like, Edman, where are you? I'm at my hotel. You know, I just got here and I fixed to hang out, whatever. And he's like, you come to my house, we hang out, we be buddies. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went up to his house, and we're sitting there talking about the set list we're going to do for the Jacksonville show.
yeah.
And he's never really played Southern rock. Like he's mainly just been like hard rock, metal, like hair metal. I told him, I said, look, I said, for this show, we're going to have to do mainly a lot of Southern rock because it's Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. And he was like, okay, what song we play? I'm like, well, I said, we're probably going to do Hold On Loosely. Oh yeah. You know, he knows of the songs.
Right.
I said, but, I said, we're going to do, Flirting with Disaster, by Molly Hatchet. And he was like, Flirting with Disaster? Like, I about fell out just listening to him talk. And I said, yeah, so we're going to do that. I was like, you ever heard it? He was like, no way. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, well, look, I said, learn how the track is, but play it your way at the same time. Like, I don't want you to, you know, because he hits way harder. Yeah. Than that drummer. I was like, I'm thinking to myself, when we go down there and we play this show, I was like, when they see us play, like it's gonna be like even harder rock version of these songs. And I'm like, this is gonna be entertaining watching a Brazilian drummer playing Southern rock. I'm like, this is gonna be very interesting to see.
I'm totally amazed at how much metal is in Brazil.
Oh my God, yeah.
It is wild.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
That's like a lot of metal bands here in the United States. That's their first stop.
Yeah.
They hit Brazil right out the bat.
Yeah, like I saw when their Pantera reunion tribute thing they're doing now. You know, when they went and done those first few shows down in, I think it was Brazil or Rio de Janeiro, somewhere in there. And like I was looking at the crowd responding to them playing those songs. I'm like, dude, these songs are still just as badass and received today as they were back in the 90s. Yeah. You know, and but yeah, they're serious about American rock and metal down there.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And it's the same way over in the UK. Yeah. I think I got an email the other day from a UK radio station wanting to know if they could get a copy of Crossroads and Freebird so they could play it on air in the UK.
That'd be awesome.
So I was like, yeah. So I sent it to them. So if somebody in the UK watches this, y'all let me know if it's playing over there somewhere, because I would love get a video of it for me, because I would love to hear that song on radio.
Oh yeah.
So
that would be awesome.
I haven't heard anything about it yet, but
see, that's what I would never be able to do it because I'm not musically inclined, really. I'm not. But I always imagined when I was younger, you know, if I was to do a song and heard it on the radio, I'd be like, I'd lose my freaking mind, man.
Yeah, I haven't had that experience yet. It'd be cool to experience, though. Yeah. I can't imagine what it would be like sitting in your car and all of a sudden your song was on the radio. You're like, what the hell? You know,
dude, that's me.
Yeah. It's like, man, this is freaking cool. Like, wow. You know, yeah, I haven't had that experience yet. I hope maybe one day it'll happen. We'll see.
It will, because, you know, once you release I got the hiccups again. I can't believe this crap.
Only a spoonful of sugar.
Yeah, I know, right? Just a little sugar, baby. I think once your album drops and everything else, and everybody really gets a good grip on it, and everybody likes, shares, subscribes to your stuff, I think it's really going to take off, man.
I hope so. I mean, you know, naturally, I've learned one thing I learned in this industry: don't ever get your hopes up. That's for sure. You will get. Oh, no. You will get hurt in the end, but
you'll get worse than bitch slapped.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah. you'll get your legs ripped off. I promise you that. But yeah, but the one thing I plan on doing is, me and my manager Tara McMurray, thank you. We plan to actually go hand deliver and sit down with some of the record executives and radio stations, and actually kind of do it the old school way.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tara's been around a long time, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows these people. She can just walk in their office and go, "Where's my coffee?"
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. She's been buddies with Dave Fowler for, I guess, 30, 40 years. So, hell, she got to be doing something right.
Exactly.
So,
it's, and a lot of this industry really is it's still got a little bit of good old boy system to it.
Sure.
And
one thing about it's all about who you know in this industry. I mean, there's a lot of artists out there, in my opinion, that are not that good.
Yeah. Well, back in the 80s, it used to be who had the best blow. But anyway, go ahead.
That's right. That's right. And, but there's a lot of artists out there in all genres of music, not just a particular one, that, are not that good.
Yeah.
But they knew the right person.
Yeah.
And they were at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And boom, there you go.
A lot of it is timing.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how things work. I mean, you never know. You just really don't know.
Well, like my singing style is very high range. And one thing I've noticed the last probably 20, and correct me if I'm wrong based off your experience, but most rock and even pop music or hard rock music in the last 20, 25 years, you haven't heard singers like Steve Perry, Axl Rose, Brad Delp from Boston, Luke Graham from Foreigner. There's not high range vocalists like that out there in the modern market.
Yeah.
In the last, I would probably say 20 years, maybe more.
Yeah.
To me, a lot of that died off when the grunge movement hit.
Yeah.
It went from really high range, in your face, like one guy posted on my social media last night. Did somebody put a pair of vice grips on your balls? Or some shit like that. Joey, dickhead. And who you are, Joey, dick. And he was trying to bust my balls a little bit.
Yeah.
Asshole. And
well, that's what friends are for.
That's what he's for. Yeah, he's good at it. He was actually good buddies with Ed King that wrote Sweet Home Alabama for Skinner.
Yeah.
So I can't get on him too bad, but but when the grunge movement hit, it went from high range, in your face, kick ass vocals to "Come as You Are," just really sleazy, just heroin vocals.
Yeah.
But now, granted, you did have singers like Chris Cornell, who had a good range. And one of my personal favorites, Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. They both had great ranges, but they still didn't really go as high as Journey and Boston and stuff like that. And from that point on, I haven't heard much of many singers at all singing those ranges, except for maybe Michael Starr from Steel Panther.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's a lot. But even on their original stuff, he sings in some of the higher registers, but it sounds more like David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Than it does. Like,
well, he was in a tribute band.
Yeah. Yeah. He was. I think they were called the Atomic Punks or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He did the tribute band, and I think he was in several other little bands, and then he landed on Steel Panther.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had that cameo in that movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Long live rock and roll. He was trying to do that David Lee Roth thing, and then he walks out of the studio and struts past Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah.
He's a badass. That shit cracked me up. Michael Starr, I know that was you.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
And
a lot of people didn't even know it was him, dude.
No. And at the tail end of the movie, when that new singer appears and Mark pulls him up on stage, that was Miles Kennedy.
I know.
Back then, he was in the Mayfield 4.
Yeah.
Now he does Alter Bridge and the Slash thing.
Yeah.
But
he's also doing a solo tour right now too.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but I look at Miles Kennedy then, I look at him now, it don't look like the same person. He
no,
looks
it don't.
Totally different than what he did.
And his vocal range, I mean, you don't hear him going as high as he used to either.
No. I think I'm not going to go in detail. I think he's got a health issue.
I just call it being old.
He is. Well, see, like when I saw him with Slash in Atlanta, you could tell he wasn't completely healthy. Like
Yeah.
you could tell something. He's battling a health issue of some kind.
That's possible.
I've read about it, but I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah,
on the
and
podcast. But
you know, this isn't the 9 o'clock news. I'm not.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, but whatever it is, I hope he gets it figured out. But he's a phenomenal singer, great songwriter. You know,
Oh yeah, and back in the day, he had tremendous vocal range.
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
and that's why I love. And still today, one of my favorite singers ever, Jeff Tate.
Yeah. Oh,
Insane vocal range.
Oh, dude, Queensryche was a monstrosity of a damn band. And honestly, why they didn't get bigger than what they did, I will never know.
They were, I think they got a little hole, and they stayed in that little hole.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe so.
they didn't venture out quite as much as they should. They kind of, well, I mean, they won the award for Silent Lucidity.
Silent Lucidity, yeah.
You know, and that was, God, I remember jamming to that damn song.
Yeah.
And just getting drunker and shit.
A lot of people got stoned and drunk to that song.
Yeah. But it hit a home.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always loved. I love songs, man, that hit home.
Yeah.
And that's why I can't wait to hear your album, because I want to see which song hits home.
Well, I know I personally, the two that I'm the most excited about is I'm Overdue and Let Me Love You Again. I think those two are going to be, they're going to be slammers. And because I'm Overdue is a hard rocker. It's more of a happy, bouncy, badass headbanger. And then Let Me Love You Again is a heartstring female ballad.
Yeah.
That's for the girls 100%.
Yeah.
You know, so, and when I wrote my songs, I took the approach of, you know, naturally, my dream is to sell out stadiums.
Yeah.
Which that's any artist's dream. But my dream is to sell out stadiums. And I was like, okay, if I was to perform these songs in a stadium, what would I want it to sound like live? So that was the approach I took when I wrote all of my songs, is how would I want it to sound live in a stadium? Mm-hmm. So, excuse me. So I added a lot of dynamics, you know, with guitar work. All the piano work was done by Dane Bryant, 100%. All that was his genius. I will not take credit where credit is not due. All the piano work and organ, synthesizer, all that stuff was 100% Dane Bryant. Yeah, that was all from his mind.
Cool.
I told him what I wanted, and then he took it and ran with it. Yeah, and what he created was phenomenal. I mean, I like did
it go past what you had dreamed?
It far surpassed
what
I wanted. Like I was, I remember when I started doing it, because originally Let Me Love You Again was going to be like a metal ballad, because it's all my songs are in half step tuning, E flat. And then if you drop the E string, which a lot of people call it drop D, but technically if you're in half step, it would be drop C sharp.
Right.
Okay. So it's got a little bit of a balls low tone down here. And
you're down in my range now.
That's right. So anyway, a lot of people laughing like, dude, you can talk in a really low voice down here, but you can go really freaking high.
Yeah, I can't do that. I crack.
And it's just a blessing from the good Lord's all I can say.
Yeah.
And then like I started playing the intro to it in studio, and Dave Fowler's over there in the corner with his bass and everything. He's sitting there watching, and I play it for Dane, and Dane's listening to it, and he goes, okay. I can see his mind's like computing what he's wanting to do. And he's like, okay. He said, just hear me out on this. Check this out. So he's got a triple decker piano stack. He's got all this fancy stuff. And he starts playing the intro that you hear on the record on piano. And like, I'm sitting there going, you wrote that off the top of your head in 30 damn seconds?
Oh, it blows my mind how they do that.
This is a masterpiece. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's freaking beautiful. And I remember Dave's over there in the corner, and over there in the corner going, he's smiling at me and he's winking at me like, like I tried to tell you should let him come in here. Yeah. Because at first I was like, I really don't want piano. Yeah. This is a rock record. Like I don't want piano.
See, I think some of the best ones that Skinner did
all had piano in them.
All had piano in it.
But I was wanting like a hard rock record. Yeah. Not really a southern rock record. I was wanting a hard rock record. The only song I wanted piano on was Freebird.
Right.
You know, but Dave talked me into it, and I'm so glad you did. So glad you did.
Oh yeah.
Because if it wasn't for Dane Bryant, my album would not sound like it does, and I owe that 100% to Dane Bryant.
Awesome.
In every aspect. I am not one to take credit where credit's not due.
Yeah.
You know. And when Dane wrote that intro, I was just like, my jaw about hit the floor. I'm like, and I remember I was telling Tara the other day, I was like, look, I was like, when he started playing that intro, I'm like, it hit me immediately. It's like God told me, he's like, Brandon, this is your journey song.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be your hit. Right. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, and then when we finished doing, you know, the music to the song, and then I started putting lyrics, I already had lyrics wrote for it, but I had not sang them.
Yeah.
And when I started putting it together vocally, it's like it all just fell in place. Just right. Like it's like it was meant to be, you know. And then when we got the song done, I was just like, you know, I really feel this is going to be the one. You know, if I have any chance of getting signed off of one album,
this will be it.
This is probably going to be the song that would allot that opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know.
Awesome.
So I can't wait for everybody to hear that song, and especially I'm Overdue, because that's one of those songs. When I hear it, I want it. I headbang to it. I'm like, God, this is so good.
Tara, you got to send me an out song.
I have it on, well, not that one, but my ringtone
Uh-huh.
is one of it is.
Oh, you heifer, you.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And we're listening to it the other night, and my phone rang. Tell me about your reaction.
Oh yeah, it was funny. We had the night before I was doing to come to the studio, we came in and we got some grub, and
Yeah.
and we're sitting there about to eat whatever, and all of a sudden her phone starts ringing, and I'm like,
What the hell?
where the hell is my damn song coming from? I heard, I thought it was on radio somewhere. I'm like, is my damn song on? Did somebody take my song?
Yeah.
Like, and then I looked, I was like, wait a minute. Is that your damn ringtone? And she was like, I love this song. And I'm like, okay, well, if a girl loves this song, I'm going to take it. You
Dude,
know,
if Tara loves it,
yeah.
it's there.
Yeah,
You ain't got to worry
I love
about
this
it.
song. It's like, you have no idea, you know. And I'm like, well, look, well, that's what I was going for, because I'm like, where the girls are, the guys will follow. So I'm
Exactly.
like, if I'm pulling the girls to the shows, then the guys are going to be there, you know. So there you go.
There it is.
And
Which I don't do that much editing. It's amazing. But anyway, I'll have to cut that out too. But anyway, yeah, you know, you've got a lot of bands out there that if they do use piano and stuff like that in them, you know, it's almost like a melodic rock.
right.
And then you've got some of the thrash metals over in the UK and all those areas. They've actually started incorporating a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the founding people that did that with the thrash metal or heavy metal was Rammstein.
Yeah.
You know, and dude, have you ever seen them live?
I've watched their live concerts on TV and like YouTube and stuff. It's insane.
I went and seen them live in Atlanta, and I've been to a lot of shows. I mean, you can ask Tara. Back in the day, you lived at the venues,
Right.
you know, and I've seen a ton of shows. But when I went and seen them, even though the biggest part of the audio is digital now, and the biggest part of the light shows and everything is all digital programs, all that other stuff, dude, the lights was on point. The sound was awesome. And their show, they went to my number one all-time favorite just from that one Atlanta show. And I was just blown away.
I've heard their shows are incredible, and but I've seen what they do, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I have a great understanding of what that stuff cost.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
I'm like, because they're a German band. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, obviously all of them have money, or one of them came from money, something, because like they have a multi-million-dollar production.
Oh yeah.
Not including transportation, crews to set it up. Like,
Yep.
just the cost of buying everything to have a show like that is millions to do.
Oh yeah.
Not including your production team, sound and lights, your setup crews, transportation, all the trucks to haul the shit.
And the flamethrowers.
Yeah, and the damn, the pyrotechnics, the flamethrowers, everything that they have featured at their concert, millions
I know.
of dollars. So I'm like, you know, I don't know how, I know they're huge over in Europe, but obviously I can't understand how big they are because I don't live there.
Right.
But I can imagine they're unbelievably ginormous.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thinking myself, I'm like, how did they afford to get that big?
Well,
You know, obviously they must have come from some type of a hellacious financial backing.
no, not really. They actually came just like normal people, but they started in the small clubs and everything over there in Germany, and they developed a cult following.
Well, they're smart with their money is all I
And
can say.
they are financial geniuses. I'm telling you.
They got to be.
With the way they have structured their show and their music and everything else. And a lot of which is weird because you really got to read the translations because they don't do nothing in English,
No, you can't understand nothing they're saying.
but and sometimes the translations don't come across exactly how it's supposed to be,
Right.
but a lot of their songs are telling a story. A lot of their songs.
Right.
And that's what grew real big over there, because you didn't have a lot of people that were telling stories
Yeah.
in a heavy metal type situation.
Right.
Mostly half the time you get a story told to you, it's because it's either a love ballad or it's country music. Well, excuse me. It was old country music. And some of the newer country artists now, they're actually going back to the storytelling and they're going back to the stuff like that. That's why, that's one reason why I was really interested in you, especially when me and Tara started talking about it. With that whole Southern rock, you're not really 100% Southern rock. You're not 100% LA rock. You just you've meshed all that together.
Yeah.
And what I've listened to, it is unique to you. And I think it's really going to take off like crazy.
All I can say is I pray you're correct. 'Cause that's my dream.
I don't know nothing. No, I'm an old metalhead. So, but I grew up in that, 38 Special and Leonard Skinner and all that stuff. It was just
One thing I've noticed in the modern world, you got this band out there called Greta Van Fleet.
mm-hmm.
A lot of people have a love-hate relationship with them. I love them. I think they're great. A lot of people compare it to they're nothing but a Zeppelin knockoff. I'm like, well, here's the thing. I've heard for 30 years, where's the Led Zeppelins? Where's the Motley Crues?
Yeah.
You finally get a Led Zeppelin, then you bitch about them sounding too much like Zeppelin.
Yeah.
There's never a happy medium. They're either too little or they're too not, or they're too much. I'm like, look, at least every song they have done, they wrote themselves.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, God, I love them. I love Led Zeppelin, but half of their material is covers and rips from old blues artists, Mississippi Delta blues artists.
Yeah.
They ripped their song because back then they didn't have that stuff patented.
Yeah.
Or they didn't have copyrights to those songs back then.
And books.
Yeah.
I mean, they ripped off Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, of course.
I
mean, and nothing against Zeppelin. I love their music. They're some of the best musicians out there, but, facts are facts.
Yeah.
And, but at least Greta Van Fleet, at least they're young guys. They're in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
They play their own instruments. They write their own songs, and they put on a great show.
Mm-hmm.
You can't knock them for that.
No, and I've heard them and I like them.
I mean, everyone's got mixed emotions about them, but at the end of the day, they're out there selling out arenas.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah. And I've actually heard people say, where's the Aerosmiths? Where's the Journeys and where's the newer bands coming up with the great songs and the great tunes, And I'm just like, in this day and age, if they were to come out, there'd be 5,000 people leaving comments, all negative.
Of course.
And that's what gets me. I mean, how can you be a keyboard warrior and knock somebody that is out there doing their best and trying to put something out that just, it's their artistry, man. It's their dream. It's their passion.
Right.
Why you want to shit on somebody's dream and passion?
Right. Well, so I'm one of these kind of like, I know what I like and what I don't like, but here's the thing. Just because I don't care for your music doesn't mean that I disrespect you as an artist.
Right.
There's people out there that like your genre and there's people that don't. It doesn't like Bob Marley is a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of his music, but I have a massive respect for him as an artist.
Right.
He created a movement and a style of music that has stood the test of time.
Oh, yeah.
I've never done that.
No.
So
I
who the
hadn't
hell
either.
am I to make judgment calls on this guy? You know, I mean, he's, you know, I'm not a huge fan of his style of music, but I respect it,
Yeah.
you know, and I think if a lot of musicians had that mentality, you know, I don't expect everybody to love and like my music, but you ain't got to shit all over it.
No.
You know, I mean, if you don't like it, fine, you know, but you ain't got to just rip me apart just because you don't like it.
You know, and that's something that's died away. I mean, it used to be, if you didn't like something, you just didn't listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, just because I don't like, well, that's like Machine Gun Kelly. I don't care much for his music, but he's a hell of an artist.
Yeah.
I'll hand it to him.
Yeah. He's a good
He's
artist.
selling out stadiums, for God's sakes. Am
Oh,
I
yeah.
selling out stadiums? Nope. So
And-
I'm not
and-
going to rip him a new one.
And look at all the shit he had to go through to
Of course.
play Nikki Sixx on
Tommy,
The
yeah,
Dirt.
He done Tommy Lee.
Yeah, Tommy. Tommy,
Lee.
that's right.
Yeah. Because he started out doing the acting stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, look, he's done well for himself. I'm not going to knock a man for doing well for himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know.
He's crazy as hell, but he's doing well for himself. I saw the other day he got in a bunch of shit for playing with the flamethrower at his birthday party. They had a helicopter flying over his house, yelling at him from one of those megaphone things,
Yeah.
telling him to put the flamethrower up because people were calling, complaining about the flamethrower.
Oh, God.
I was like, how rock star can you get? You're walking around your house with a flamethrower.
Look,
You know, I was like, that's pretty rock and roll, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I
can
mean-
hand it to you.
I wonder if, was it one of the Tesla flamethrowers,
I don't know. It looked like one of those.
Elon Musk ones that he built?
I don't know. I know. I saw a video of it. It looked like the one off Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie when the dude's burning the town down. It looks
Yeah.
like a cannon shooting out flames. That's what it looked like. And what's funny is the helicopter's flying over his house and he's shooting flames up at it. You know, I'm like, dude, I gotta hand it to him, man. I mean, the dude's crazy as hell, but you know, he makes headlines. His name stays in the news, good or bad.
Yeah.
You know, Alice Cooper said it best. All news is good news.
Yeah. And plus, you know, Megan Fox.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to that. How in the hell he got her, I have no clue.
Because he's a superstar.
Nah,
If he wasn't a superstar, she'd never give him time of day. Just like,
it's probably because he's a crazy son of a bitch.
yeah, well, she's crazy too.
Yeah, that's true. Crazy meets crazy.
Yep. Yep. Personalities attract. Similar personalities attract.
You gonna have a album release party?
I don't have anything in the works right now. You know, so right now I really don't know. I don't even know where I would even do something like that at.
Why in the hell did I even ask you? I should have just asked Tara.
I guess so. She's the manager. Where we gonna do it at, Tara?
We actually talked about it, and he doesn't know it, but I'm already looking at it.
See, that's
See, she already knows shit that I don't.
yeah. See, that's good manager.
Well, yeah, I mean, if something happens with it, great. If not, I'll just announce it on social media, and you can pull it up on you can get your trusty little phone and go to iTunes or whatever.
Only thing you got to do is make sure I know what day it's going to drop.
Sure.
And you know, when I'm doing one of my little podcasts here or whatever, I'll announce it to people, and hopefully that'll help out a little
Thank
bit.
you. I appreciate that. And it's interesting you mentioned about stories because like every one of my songs is a story. Like
Yeah.
if you actually read the lyrics or listen to the lyrics, like I'm actually telling you about something.
Right.
You know, it's not just, you know, my songs are not your typical cookie cutter. Oh, let's get drunk or let's go get high and chase girls, or, you know, let's go get drunk, you know, ride in your 24s, you know, rent. It ain't that shit. You know, it's actual stories about life situations that people can actually relate to in some form.
You ever rode in a vehicle with 24s?
Is not comfortable.
It's not comfortable. It's like a log wagon.
Yeah.
My truck has 20s on it, and it rides more like an old log wagon truck.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
I prefer 18s and under.
Yeah, me too.
More meat on the wheel.
Wait a minute, we're talking about tires, right? Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about wheels, people.
Just to clarify, man, I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days on this damn thing.
But I've actually a new addition to a Slickson Revolver band. I've actually got an official piano player now, named of Tristan Dunn from Pell City, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham.
Now, is he classically trained or?
He's not trained per se, but his go-tos is classical music, everything from Beethoven to Chopin, all the way to go figure, his number one biggest influence is Billy Powell.
Yeah,
from Skinner. You know, he can do anything from Skinner to my personal favorite piano player of all time is Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah,
I love Jerry Lee Lewis, and
also a controversial mug.
Yes, he was. He was crazier than Homemade Sin, but you know, he had a hell of a career.
Dude could play, man.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the funniest statements he ever made. I saw him make. He said, "Do you feel like you should be the king of rock and roll?" He got that shit-eating grin on his face. He said, "Well, I was the first one inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
yeah,
what does that tell you?"
Exactly.
I went, oof. Oof.
That was a mic
I
drop.
gotta hand you, baby. You right. I mean, you can't argue with him there. I mean,
No.
Elvis wasn't even part of the first ones inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, I can't even remember when he was inducted.
You know, because I think it was in '89 or '88.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis was like one of the they inducted 5 or 10 people
At the
first
very
round,
beginning, yeah.
and he was number one.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You can't, I mean, that's mic drop, walk away.
he was right. I mean, because it was so funny because the girl asked, it was on like live national television. It's like, no, do you feel like you should be the king of rock and roll? He just went. He just got that shit in his face. He's like, well, I was the first one inducted to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So what does that tell you? I'm like,
Yeah.
shit. Okay, Bubba, you right. Boom.
Yep, that's it.
You know, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, but I personally feel that, you know, if he would not have married Myra,
Yeah.
if he would have left all that shit alone, he probably would have been.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, he had a lot of controversy, man.
But he, unfortunately, he signed his own career death warrant, you know, for a while.
Yeah.
You know, because for about 10 years, he didn't do, you know, he struggled.
Yeah, wouldn't nobody book him.
Yeah, nobody would book him. You know, the UK sabotaged his career, you know, and then, but he eventually had a pretty good comeback for a while and had a fair career. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, but Tristan, yeah, he does anything, you know, he can play the hell out of anything Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one I call an ivory melter.
Yeah.
I mean, he can melt the damn keys off of one, and he officially agreed to sign on and play for me, which I needed a piano because, like I told him, I was like, every one of my songs has heavy piano in them,
Yeah.
except for "I'm Overdue." "I'm Overdue" has some synthesizer in it, but it's dominantly hard rock guitars.
Yeah.
But it's there, and it has a good dynamic to it. It's almost kind of a little bit of a, you know how Boston has a lot of synth in it?
Yeah.
Like on the song "Smokin'," has that synthesizer organ in there. That's exactly what's on "I'm Overdue."
Oh, cool.
It's pretty cool, and all that was Dane Bryant's genius idea.
While he was sitting over there playing with it and everybody was looking and staring.
Well, see, what was cool about it was, well, let me finish Tristan first, and I'll dive off in the Dane. That's another cool story. I wanted when I first contacted Tristan about this, I told him, I was like, you know, all my songs have piano in them and organ and synthesizer. I said, I know you can do all that, but can you learn them to what Dane did?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, because it's got to be done the way Dane did it, or it don't sound right.
Exactly.
You know. And he was like, yeah, no problem. So he's actually going to have his debut. Now, we may have one before, but as of now, his debut with us is going to be July 29th in Jacksonville.
Right.
For the Rockin' For a Reason festival. And which, as soon as I get all the, they're supposed to be selling tickets through, I don't know if it's Ticketmaster or something.
There's no telling.
It's one of those ticket things. Excuse me. As soon as I get all that information, I will put it on all my social media platforms. So if y'all want to come down and meet some of the Southern rock legends that are going to be, that's supposedly going to be there, all the plane crash survivors that are still alive today, they're all going to be there. Leslie Hawkins, the last remaining backup singer for Skinner that was on the plane crash, she's supposed to be there. Possibly Barely Hardwood from the Rosington Collins band may be there. All this is subjectual right now. You know, we're just getting started with all this. So, but everything is looking good so far. There's not much negative kickback.
That's good.
Now. So that's a good thing.
I love that.
You know, but we're hoping that we can get Barry Lee Harwood and Derek Hess from the Roslyn Collins band, all the ones that are still alive and you know, down there to do like an all-star reunion jam and play the old Roslyn Collins band stuff and Alan Collins band and all that. And but Tristan will make his debut with us down there.
Yeah.
And because he can play the hell out of Freebird.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I almost used him on the record, but the Dane Bryant, the only song Dane did not play on, he was going to originally, but he didn't have the time to put into it because he was busy producing other stuff.
Right.
I got Matt Nolan, who is from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Phenomenal piano player. Obviously, you heard it. You know, he plays in the he runs a band called the Spunk Monkeys. They've been around for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
But they're a fantastic tribute / cover group.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal. They put on an incredible show. And but he is a monster musician, multi-instrumentalist. He can play anything, and he's a great singer too. But I called him up. I said, "Hey, look," I said, "you know, I need somebody to really break down these parts live that Billy's doing." I said, "I know you got the studio and the technology. Would you be able to do this?" He was like, "Whoo, a hell of a damn task." He said, "But I'm willing to give it a shot." And there you go. You've heard it. I mean, it's. He done a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah, he did.
You know, capturing what Billy did, and he was able to actually record Billy's parts on a Steinway piano, which is what Billy played live.
Yeah.
Billy's piano was a 1928 Steinway, and he used the same piano from 1973 all the way up to 2008 when he died.
Yeah.
Every Leonard Skinner concert he ever done, he used that full size Steinway grand piano.
Yeah.
And
they've got a phenomenal sound.
absolutely.
I love them.
And it wasn't a baby grand. It was the full size.
It was a full grand,
the big
yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
And so now in the early days it was a I used to know what it was, but he used an upright piano, like the old church pianos.
Yeah.
A lot of people call them the honky tonk boogie woogie pianos. And he used that in the early days, but eventually he got that full size Steinway. And I remember Craig Reed, listening to him talk about having to load that damn thing up in the truck every damn
Oh God, they're heavy as hell.
He said we about broke our damn back every night trying to load that heavy ass damn thing. And but as the band grew, they were able to get trucks with powered lifts on the back, and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff helped, but but as far as Dane, let's see, what the hell was I gonna say about him? I hate it when I do that. I was gonna say something about Dane.
I don't know. We were talking about classically trained pianos.
Yeah. But I said I'm gonna get to Dane here in a minute. Go back to Dane, but I can't remember what the hell I was gonna say about him.
You'll figure it out 5 minutes after you walk out the door.
Probably so. I'll remember when I got the door. Damn it! I remember what I was going to talk about.
We'll just have you, when I'm doing a podcast, we'll just have you call in and go, "Hey, dude, I just remembered."
That's a great idea. That is a great idea. I like that. That'll be perfect. God, I wish I remember what the hell I was going to say about him. Oh yeah, that's right. Dane was going to play piano on Freebird originally, and he cut the first piano track that we were going to use, and it was gorgeous, but it wasn't accurate enough,
Right.
for what I needed.
Yeah.
Because I needed an exact duplicate. Now, if we were just doing a general cover of it, it'd worked out great.
Yeah.
But if I'm claiming this is an exact tribute to Live at the Fox, it's got to be
This guy is spot on.
spot on. And he told me, he said, look, he said, I would love to, but I don't have the time to put into this. And he cracked me up. He said, Brandon, he said, there is so much going on in that song piano wise. He said, I don't even think Billy Powell could recreate what Billy did back then.
He probably couldn't.
He said he said what Billy's doing is so much going on in there. And he said, I don't have the time. So
Well, I've always heard, when he was playing that song live, every now and then he would change it just a little bit.
he would. He never played it 100% the same way every night. The only thing he always played the same was the intro and the middle solo. But a lot of the stuff in between and some of the stuff he would do during the solo section.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting down like Jerry Lee. I mean, he is going to town.
Oh, yeah.
On piano, and but he never played it 100% the same way every night.
I mean, if you ever see any old videos, and it's for people that watch it, that are listening, watch some of the old videos and try to pay particular attention to his piano playing. The guy was a madman at it, dude.
He was.
I mean, I think he was really, I'd put him in top 5
Absolutely
best piano players out there.
I would, and that's not just because I'm a diehard Skinner fan, but Billy Powell was one of those juggernaut piano players, you know. And I mean, he would give Jerry Lee Lewis a run for his money any day of the week.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know,
I kind of go with that. You know,
I mean, he started off as a roadie for Skinner.
Yeah,
and that's the cool part. He was a roadie, and then the one day they were opening a show for the Allman Brothers in 1971, I think it was, just before Dwayne died.
Yeah.
And Billy, they had an upright piano in this gymnasium, and Billy walked over there and was like, if I was to play Freebird on piano, this is how I would do it. And he sat down and started playing pretty much what you hear on the live performance.
Yeah. Everybody's like, you're it.
Yeah. And Billy said that Ronnie was like, the hell?
Yeah.
We knew you could play piano, but we know you could play it like that.
Yeah.
He's like, he was like, so hell, they fired me as a roadie and hired me as a piano player. He said, and I wound up playing my first concert with them that night because they asked him like, can you play piano to all of our songs? And he was like, well, I know y'all said, and I play by ear. He was trained, but he also could play by ear. So he knew the keys of all their songs. So
yeah, the only thing he had to do is follow on some of it.
He just followed them, and he fell right in there like he'd been there the whole time.
I know.
And it's amazing how, but all bands it's unique how they all come together.
Yeah. But, a lot of people just they base a lot on what they just hear.
Of course.
But people that have actually are musicians or people that have been in the industry for a long time, we tend to listen a little bit deeper.
Oh yeah.
And just to hear people that are that accomplished, and the technological, I can't even think of the daggone word, the techniques they use and everything. It's just amazing to me. And then they just put out, they're putting out their own Beethovens, their own Bachs, they're writing their own stuff, man. And it's awesome. That's why I can't wait to hear this whole album.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can honestly say I'm actually excited to get the mixes back, hopefully this week.
Cool.
Kevin, our mix engineer, he's incredible. He's an amazing engineer. And he's quick too, so I'm looking forward to getting the mixes back. And plus, he lets me tell him what I want to edit and make louder,
right?
What effects, whatever. And so once I get everything done and get it back to him, it don't take him long to master them.
You mean he's still talking to you after you told him go from 1 second and 24 and all that? Okay.
Oh yeah. If I call him, he'll actually answer the phone. I haven't ran him off, But the thing about me, I actually understand the amount of work that it takes that goes into that. And, so I try to use the nicest way possible to approach it. Hey, look, I would like to do this. I would like to do that. I'm not one to be like, do this and do that. You're not gonna get nothing to nobody. They'll give you the cold shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Like
Quick.
And
a good engineer can make you or break you, baby.
Exactly. And he, Kevin has done a phenomenal job with Crossroads and Freebird. And I can't wait to get these other songs done. And, because once he gets the reverb and stuff like that, like as a matter of fact, on Let Me Love You Again, I originally done the solo originally. And then I wasn't happy with the tone, my guitar tone.
Yeah.
For some reason, what come out of the speakers in the studio is not what come out on the recording.
Yeah.
So I told Zach, I'm not happy with my tone. I like the solo, but the tone's not right. So I said, look, would you be mind redoing it? since you already have your studio, Zach's got a nice setup.
Yeah.
I said, redo this solo. You know, I said, take what I did and just kind of build on it.
Right.
Do your own thing. I said, don't copy me. You're Zach. You do it your own way. And what he done, in my opinion, is better than what I did.
Well, he's going to be the one playing it live.
Yes. Yeah, he will be the one playing it live. And so I was excited to have him to redo it. And what he done turned out fucking awesome. And I told him, I was like, that's why you're my lead guy. Like, I knew you had the ability to take my ideas and build on them and make them better.
Yeah.
And it's like I tell everybody, I'm like, this kid's 20 years old.
It's amazing.
He's 20. You know, he's a kid to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm only 31. I'm still 11 years older than him.
Yeah.
In my mind, like, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
But he has so much talent in his ear, and the thing about Zach, he plays by feel, and he's more of a note guy.
Yeah.
He's not one to just, you know, just absolutely just all that stuff. Like, he actually feels everything that he plays.
Yeah.
That's what I love about him. He has so much soul to his playing.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, like Derek from Tattered Sons, he's the bass player and phenomenal bassist. He's great. But I tell you what, when I went up there to Glasgow and seen him, his son was playing in the band that was opening for him. His son's name's Mason. And let me tell you something. This 21-year-old kid was doing shit with that bass that had daddy sitting over there with a little bit of a tear in his eye and prouder than a freaking peacock, man.
Hell yeah.
And he was blowing me away, you know? And I was just like, dude, when he gets with the right band, he is going to be freaking unstoppable.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about some of these younger generation kids. They're actually taking it to that next level. They're pushing it.
If they'll put down the iPads.
Yep, exactly.
And keep an instrument in their hand. See, you know, that's one of the main things I've thought about. I'm like, you know, guys like Roy Clark and all them, those monster guitar players, back in when they were kids, obviously there was no electronics of any form. All they had was a front porch and an instrument.
Yeah, that was it.
They sat on the porch. They worked in the fields by day. They ate dinner. Then they sat on the porch all night, picking and grinning. Like, that's all they had to do. And that's why they became such phenomenal instrumentalists, because that's all they did or had to do.
What's the only entertainment at all?
Yeah.
You know?
Because a lot of times all of them didn't even have radio or electricity.
Yeah.
So they made their own music.
That's why when I built this house, I wanted a big front porch. I can fit 5-6 people on that front porch comfortable.
Yeah.
And I can't play. I'm not that coordinated. I tried it with bass. I actually bought a Charvel bass back in 86, 87. And stupid me, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is what I started off with. Iron Maiden tune.
Nice.
And then that one part where it's
Bill Harris. Huh?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm kind of mimicking it. I'm kind of copying it, but I could not have picked the hardest freaking song in the world to decide to start playing a bass to. And I just didn't stick with it. And I found out that I preferred being out on the production side.
Right.
I liked doing the lights. I liked doing the sound, and I had more fun. And that was my creativity.
Right.
And there's no creativity now. It's all programs. You can't paint a scene anymore.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands that use tracks now.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing.
It's definitely not. It's up the norm. I'm like, don't you know Milli Vanilli is mad as hell. I just had to point that out. I've thought about that over the years, you know, because I'm like, don't you know that Milli Vanilli is mad as hell, because
They are
50% of national
furious.
acts are singing and performing the tracks, and these guys had their career sabotaged simply because the damn record started skipping.
And they play tracks.
And they play tracks. I'm like, don't you know them two boys are mad as fuck over that?
Well, you remember a long time ago, it was like Saturday Night Live and David Letterman and a couple of other ones. Yeah. They were doing tracks, and then they got busted for it and they started making people play live. But that's what the people wanted to play anyway. They wanted to do it live anyway.
I remember back, it was at 94, 95. I remember this. On the CMT Music Awards, they wanted, Alan Jackson. Mm-hmm. They wanted him to play, I think it was Chattahoochee or it was one of those songs. And I remember they wanted him to play to the track. They didn't want a live performance. Well, he was pissed about it.
Oh, yeah. He was furious.
Raged about it. So he told his band, he said, all right, so we'll go out there and we'll do it. That's fine. No problem. So they go out there. His drummer is back there with no sticks in his hand.
Yeah.
Acting like he's playing the damn song.
Yeah.
And there is not a stick in his hand. And I pull it up on YouTube sometimes and just watch it just to get a kick out of it.
Oh, yeah.
His drummer's back there going to town. I mean, he's into it, son. He's acting like he's just going to town. And there ain't a damn stick one.
Best playing of air drums ever.
Best air drums of all time. I mean, he's reached up there hitting cymbals and there's no sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, but he knows what he would be playing if he had sticks in his hand.
Yeah.
But that was the middle finger to the CMT, whoever the hell's over all that. That was their middle finger to him.
Yeah,
like,
that was...
Like, you assholes won't let us play our own song. Like, we are more than capable of playing our instruments.
Yeah.
And you want us to basically lip sync and air guitar and air drum. Okay, no problem. So he went out there without... Do you remember that?
I remember that.
You remember seeing that? I laughed my ass off.
I did too.
I thought that was freaking hilarious.
And I was... during that time, I was watching it on TV, and I'm just like, what the heck? Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's like, I remember, because I was little when this happened, but I saw it later. Nirvana, when they first hit with Smells Like Teen Spirit, they got brought over to the UK to do a live performance of it. I think on the BBC, I think it was still around back then. And they wanted them to, play to the track. Yeah. And I remember when I saw this, Kurt Cobain, he played left-handed. Yeah. He was playing a right-handed guitar.
Yep. It was hilarious.
And he was singing. He wasn't even singing. He was just going, hello, hello, singing to half the pace of the track. And I thought that was the funniest shit. And Dave Grohl didn't have sticks in his hand.
No.
I mean,
Alan Jackson's band started that crap.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I was like, this is so good. I mean, Kurt's playing a right-handed guitar, and Dave Grohl don't have a stick one in his hand, and they're up there playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, and Kirk's over there going, hello, hello. And I'm like, this is just great, man. Yeah. Oh God, that was so good. There's been some good times in music, man. It's so funny to look back now and just laugh about that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's times, I can understand every now and then to provide a good performance for somebody. I can understand maybe a vocal track or maybe something going on. Sure. But my hat's off right now to Morgan Wallen. Yeah. Because he had vocal issues. He listened to his doctor, and he canceled shows. He could have went up there, y'all, and he could have played the vocal track with his band and put on a show for y'all. But his integrity wouldn't let him do it.
Something I found a friend of mine, Sammy Six, if he watches this is a tip of the hat to you. He made the funniest comment on social media. A lot of, musicians, whether they're cover artists or whatever they are, they were all ripping, Morgan apart for not showing up for this gig. No excuses. We're used to playing 4-hour cover gigs and blah, blah, blah. And Sammy made the comment on Facebook. He said, guys, look, he said, it's so funny to listen to all you, Weekend Warriors and Hometown Hero cover groups and all this stuff, bitching about Morgan Wallen not showing up to a gig. He said, but here's the problem. No one gives a shit if you show up to a gig.
Exactly.
He's like, and that's in a nutshell, that's what he said. I can't remember verbatim, but that's pretty much what he said. And I fell out laughing. I'm like, that's a really great point. I'm like, the fact that people are that pissed that he didn't show up to a gig. Yeah. No one would give a damn if I didn't show up to a gig. I mean, I'm not at that level yet.
If I don't show up, the lights don't go on. So they can kiss my ass.
But I was like, Sam, that's a really good point. I'm like,
It is.
You guys are ripping this guy a new ass for not showing up to a gig. I'm like, no one even gives a damn if you show up to a gig or not.
And see, that just that tells me a lot about how some folks are now. They are so selfish because, all right, Morgan Wallen goes up there and he does the show. 3 songs in, he can't sing no more. You just ruined this man's career. You have ruined everything that he was building for years.
Right.
All because he gave in to your selfishness. People need to quit being so damn selfish.
And there's no doubt, I understand that people that went to that concert was at Ole Miss in
I think so.
It was in Mississippi. I understand that people, bought a new set of clothes for this concert. I understand that you bought hotel rooms to go to this concert. I understand that y'all probably went and spent a $300 tab at a restaurant somewhere because y'all were partying and having a good time before the Morgan Wallen show.
Yeah.
I understand that. But at the end of the day, if, like you said, if he did decide to show up and he didn't sing worth a damn,
they'd have been bitching about that.
And it didn't sound like the record that they're used to hearing.
Exactly.
They'd have been raising 10 kinds of hell. He sounded like shit. I want my money back.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's one lady that's suing him for all that stuff.
It won't go anywhere.
Well, I know it won't, but it's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you got out of the house.
He refunded all their money. At least I think he did anyway.
I think they refunded all the tickets.
Yeah.
She's suing for gas money, hotel, restaurant, I don't know. She's probably suing for buying a roll of toilet paper. Who freaking knows?
People don't think about it. It's going to cost you more in court fees and lawyer fees than you're even going to get out of it.
Well, she's got it in her head that she's going to win. So in those things, then Morgan Wallen would have to pay her lawyer. That's what she's thinking.
Yeah, and that's
if I was a lawyer that had her as a client, I'd be laughing her out of the daggum room.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised the lawyer even took that case on.
Some people want that name, man.
Good luck.
I mean, it's crazy.
Good luck. Good luck. No.
Oh, Lord. We're bouncing all over the damn place.
Well, this has been a damn good podcast, though. We covered a lot of good material, though.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I love about it. I love the conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I don't know if you're ready to get close to wrapping it up or not, but one thing I wanted to touch on just for a couple minutes is the show down in Jacksonville. But I'm not going to go into you already know what it's about. I've already discussed it, but I do want to give a good shout out to Chad Reed, who is setting all this up. He's a really good friend of mine. He's the one that worked everything out for me and Zach Lane to go to Gary Rosington's funeral.
Okay.
And he's setting all this up.
Yeah.
Him and Don Barnes from 38 Special. Don Barnes' son is a promoter.
Cool.
And him and Chad are lifelong friends.
Right.
And so they're working together to get this big festival set up. And it's looking like it was just going to be like a 500-seater venue. Mm-hmm. But it looks like we're hoping. It looks like it's going to grow to 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Because there's people all over the country that I've seen them saying on social media, like if there's ever something like that in Jacksonville where all the survivors go to, and people want to meet these people.
Yeah. Well, you got to do a good meet and greet.
I mean, there's people all over from California to New York, Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon, that would fly down to Jacksonville to experience something like that. Because, they're in their 70s. They all got health problems. This is probably going to be your last chance to really meet these people in person, one-on-one.
Yeah.
And actually have a conversation with them and get a picture or whatever. So I think it's going to be a really good time for fans of Southern rock in general, not just Skinner fans, to come down and experience, where all that music came from. Because there's a lot of people that's going to show up to this that's been affiliated with all these different bands, from Allman Brothers to Skinner and whatever. So I think it would be really cool for everybody that wants to come down and be part of this, to do that. And I want to thank Gene Odom, who was Ronnie Van Zant's best friend. He was on the plane crash, and he's the one that actually put Ronnie in his seat before the plane hit the ground. And Gene and all them for being part of this. Jimmy Withers, Griff Martin, Craig Reed, Chad's father, the Stone Roadie.
Yeah.
You know, all those guys that are putting this on for having Slickson Revolver be part of this. Because when we went to Gary's funeral, we were invited to go to Whitey's Fish Camp after the funeral. Have you heard about all that?
No, I haven't heard nothing about all that.
Well, Whitey's Fish Camp is a big music venue / restaurant in Jacksonville, and it's been there since the 60s. And Skinner cut their teeth there in the early days.
Right.
They were almost like a house band, so to speak.
Well, see, I didn't even know it was still open.
Yeah. It burnt down, I think in the 90s, but they rebuilt it.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. It's really cool. If you ever go, you need to go. And they got a lot of memorabilia in there, pictures of the bands in there eating, you know, back in the day. And but we got invited to Whitey's Fish Camp because word got around that Slickson Revolver was in town.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even know how. I don't know. But when we got there, I mean, they rolled out the red carpet. I mean, like, you know, because a lot of them heard about our tribute to Skinner with Freebird and all that. They were really excited about what we done, considering how young we were.
I don't think anybody else has ever cut it.
They haven't. The only other one that's done it is Molly Hatchet.
Yeah.
You know, but
I don't think I've heard the Molly Hatchet version.
Yeah, they cut it. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a long time, but there hasn't been anybody our age.
Yeah.
You know, from our generation.
Right.
That's ever cut it and got it that detail accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And much less done the live version.
Yeah.
Which is honestly is more complex than the record.
Yeah, it is.
You know. So we got there and we wound up doing an all-star jam, and it's on YouTube. I'll make sure Tara gets you the link.
Yeah, because before y'all leave, I want to get all your links and everything down.
Sure, yeah.
Because when I start posting to YouTube and Buzzsprout, which is my podcast host, I put all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
That way, when people listen to it or they click on the YouTube and they see the stuff, somebody wants to get in touch with you or follow your links and all that other stuff. Only thing they got to do is scroll down. And I just see my hand go past. Hey. It's down at the bottom, and all the links are right there, and they can click right on it and get right to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can make sure you have all that, and and as soon as there's supposed to be a website being built for this festival.
Oh, cool.
It'll probably be up by Monday.
Yeah.
As soon as they get the website and the link to buy tickets for people that want to come, I think the VIP. Actually, these are great deals. These are great deals. It's $100 for a VIP ticket, but that means personal meet and greet with all the survivors and even some of the rescuers that were in Galesburg when the plane crashed. They actually got the band out. Some of them are supposed to be there too.
Oh, cool.
And so they're supposed to be, Mr. Dwayne Easley and all them supposed to be coming down. And
I'll just make Tara drive me.
That's right. And she's supposed to come down, I think. And
big event like that, she'll be there.
I figured she probably would.
Yeah. Hell, I might show up. You never know.
Hey, come on down. And you can set up your podcast too. You can set up a tent, do all that stuff if you wanted to.
You know what? A lot of people have asked me if I'm going to set up a mobile type podcast and everything.
It's probably tough.
I've thought about it, but I don't think, because we were at Rockin' Pod and there was a lot of noise going on.
Really?
And those guys were editing like crazy to get that noise out.
Oh, I'm sure.
I know they were.
I'm sure.
Because what I do, I just kind of enhance a couple of things and trim back a little bit. That's all I do.
Right.
All the sound and everything just comes from my engineering days and playing with this board for countless hours on end. And I don't think I would be able to. I don't want to work my ass off trying to get all that damn background noise and shit out.
I get it. But the offer's there if you ever decide you want to come down.
Well, I appreciate it. I might just bring my ass and hold my phone up and go Facebook Live. Hi.
That's what a lot of people are probably going to do.
Yeah.
Do that. I know the concert's supposed to be streamed live on YouTube and all of social media. Somebody's doing it. I don't know. But I know that's supposed to be done because because we're headlining, Slickson Revolver's headlining, and then we got Sweet Melissa opening up for us. And I think there's another band before her, I think. And then, but before we go on, after Sweet Melissa, they're supposed to do an all-star jam of, if everything works out, of course, with the reunion of the surviving members of Rosington Collins and Alan Collins band. There's, if it works out where they can come, you know, we're going to do like an all-star jam of some of their hits from those bands.
That'd be awesome.
For about 30 minutes. Yeah. I mean, I think it's something, if it works out where they can come down, like that's going to draw a lot of people too. Cause those that saw the Rosington Collins band and all them back in the early 80s, you know, they were a great group, and they had some great songs. And so a lot of people, especially the local Jacksonville people, Jacksonville's a massive city. I mean,
it's huge.
The amount of people there is unbelievable. So a lot of the locals are definitely going to pour in to try to experience that for those that saw it.
Oh yeah.
Today. And it's kind of funny how it's 2023 and the band broke up in early 83.
Yeah.
So it's like 40 years to the day, you know. And so
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be an all-star jam.
Well, it's kind of like almost another tribute type.
Yeah, pretty much. And we're hoping Barry Lee Hartwood can come, who played in the Rosington Collins band with Alan and Gary, and then Derek Hess was the original drummer. You know, they're still with us. But the rest of them are pretty much gone, except for Dale, Gary's wife, and then it'll be an all-star jam of those two bands, and then we're supposed to do another, pretty much the same thing that happened at Whitey's Fish Camp. We got up and jammed with all the local Jacksonville legends, you know, and all of these guys have been affiliated with all the Southern rock bands at some point in their career, and the amount of talent down there is
unimaginable, man.
And me and Zach, I mean, you know, me and Zach had the time of our life playing with those guys down there, because you know, they're 40, 50 years older than we are.
Oh yeah.
You know, and we're up there, we're hanging with them. Yeah, and not arrogantly. So don't take it wrong. Not arrogantly, you know. But they were having a great time playing with us. Like they were actually excited to see some young guys in their 20s. Because I'm 31, Zach's 20. You know, and then Buddy Crump, who is, I think, 24, 25 years old. He plays in a band called Fortune Child.
Okay.
They're badass. Look them up. Look them up. Fortune Child, they're badass. They're out of Jacksonville. They're an upcoming band.
I'm going to write it down.
And they're a 3-piece, and their drummer sings and plays. Incredible.
Awesome.
Incredible band. We're hoping to tour with them at some point.
Okay.
That's something we're looking to do. But me, Zach, and Buddy Crump, you know, it was funny because I remember when we got up there to play, we done 2 or 3 Skinner songs that we played Freebird. Right when we got to the second Skinner song, Buddy Crump come walking in, and everybody knows that Buddy Crump is a badass motherfucker on a damn guitar. I mean, that kid, look, he intimidated me for a little while. Yeah, you know, because he's badass, you know. And when he walked in, everybody was like, "Oh hell, Buddy Crump's here." Because you know, but Buddy's good and he knows he's good. Yeah, you know. And the best compliment I've ever got, which I was actually shocked, was Buddy had never played with me. On guitar, and I'm not one to brag. I don't brag about my guitar playing. I'm just another guitar player. Right. If you like me, great. If you don't, that's fine too. I don't care. You know, but we got up there and we jammed Crossroads, the Clapton version. Yeah. But Skinner had actually done a version of it in the 70s. That's on the Roamer from the Road album. So that's the version we did, was a Skinner version, which I think's better, because Alan Collins mops the floor with Eric Clapton. Yes, I said it. Yeah. I said it. I'm not ashamed of it either. I love Clapton, but Alan Collins played him under the table. Yeah. We done that version of Crossroads, and you know, I was singing and playing the rhythm, and then I looked at Buddy. I was like, "Take it," you know, and he started ripping it. I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, because we were trading off. Yeah. And I'm watching him play, and I got this on video. I'll make sure you get the link. And I'm like, "Oh dear God, I gotta go up against this guy, but I gotta follow what he's doing." Yeah. Like, oh shit, here we go. And then he looked at me and was like, "Your turn." Mm-hmm. I was, all right, here we go. So I started ripping into it, and I'm more of a, Buddy's a heavy blues guy.
Yeah.
But a monster shredder blues guy. I'm a mix of like blues and like hard rock metal shred. It's a mix of both. And I started doing my thing, and before it was over with, everybody was like, holy shit. You know, this guy, because I'm a lot bigger than Buddy. Buddy's like maybe 5'4", 5'5", maybe 120 pounds. I'm 6'4", knocking 300.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's like, holy shit, you know, this guy's giving Buddy, you know, them two were hanging together.
Oh, yeah.
And when it was over with, we walked outside, and plus I gave Buddy a big hug because I got off to watching him play because he's my style of player. I mean, I love watching Buddy play. And I gave him a big, I was like, dude, that was fucking amazing. Like, I was like, God, you're such a badass guitar player. And he's got a luscious mane of hair. Mm-hmm. They call him Little Alan Collins. Yeah. Because if he was as tall as Alan, he looked like his twin.
Right.
And Buddy looked at me. He said, man, I got to hand it to you. He said, I didn't know you could play like that. And I was like, wow.
That's when the hair on the arm stands up.
I was like, damn. I was like, well, thank you. That means a lot. I said, because I got a lot, even though you're younger than me, I got a lot of respect for you as a guitar player. Because, not many people want to go up against Buddy Crump.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid's an amazing guitar player. And then him and Zach got up there and cut heads, and they done what's that song by the Allman Brothers, No Way Out? Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God, the freaking crowd went insane. They couldn't find a glass slide. No one had one.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, we need a slide. You need a slide. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I got you. So I took a beer bottle from Fortune Child's manager, Brandon Campbell.
Yeah.
I took his beer bottle out of his hand. I went out to the parking lot, and I busted that son of a gun in the damn parking lot and chiseled some of the sharp edges off the best I could. And I walked back in there. I handed a beer bottle neck slide to Buddy. I was going to hand it to Zach. Yeah. And then Buddy went, let me have that thing. He stuck his finger in it. He started, dude, the freaking crowd went ape shit. And then next thing you know, him and Zach are cutting heads together. And,
I seen a guy do a shot glass like that.
Yeah. And, and everybody was just like, it was more of a nostalgia thing. People were like, this is like the old Skinner days. These guys are cutting heads not against each other, but with each other. Yeah. And they're using busted bottleneck slides, playing.
Dude, you use whatever you can use, man.
Playing old Gibson guitars, it was a nostalgia thing for a lot of these people that were around back then.
Yeah, it was.
And, and then it's two young guys up there going at it, and I mean, him and Zach were hanging with each other. I mean, Zach was right there with him. I mean, it was really fun to to play with all those guys, but people were really blown away at watching me and Zach, play with Buddy. Yeah. Because even the older guys there that were around with Skinner and all them back in the 70s, they all were like, but Buddy Crump is a badass. Like, we want him to play with us.
Yeah.
Because that's just how good he is. But
I can imagine.
But anyway, long story short, we had a great time doing that, and so they want to do another all-star jam like that again.
A lot of people don't do that shit.
No, they don't. They don't. So they want us younger guys to get up on stage with the older generation from the 60s and 70s that's still around, the Jacksonville Legends is what they call. They actually made a book about it. There's actually a book online called the Jacksonville Legends.
I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out.
It's a really good book, and there's a lot of guitar players that come out of Jacksonville.
Oh yeah,
there's a bunch that play with all kinds of different artists that you don't even know about.
Oh yeah,
and so they're wanting us to get back up on stage and jam with all those guys, and so we're really looking forward to doing that again, because a lot of people didn't show up to the Whiteys get together after Gary's funeral, because a lot of people thought that we were capitalizing off of Gary's death.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's like we're celebrating Gary's life here.
Yeah, it's kind of like a homage.
It's like a passing of the torch, celebrating his life, because he was the last one, except for Artemis. He's the only one still around, but he was the last original member of the band. And it was kind of a passing of the torch. Like, you had to be there.
Yeah.
There was a spirit there in that place that you can't put words to it.
Oh, it was probably electrifying.
It was incredible. I mean, we were up there playing all the Skinner stuff, and then we started kicking out Allman Brothers, and then Clapton, and then 38 Special. I mean, it was, and there it was this little bitty stage. It wasn't real big.
Yeah.
But it was like a damn stadium show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there were so many people. People were going Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And people were tuning in and watching and going, "Holy shit, we got to get to Whitey's. Look at this."
Yeah.
You know, and the owner of Whitey's was like, "We got to get y'all back here." Like if from what I was told, the owner of Whitey's Fish Camp said that that's the biggest crowd we've had here for that particular situation in years.
Awesome.
You know, so I was like, man, see, that's what it's all about. Bringing people together and celebrating life with music. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a quote, and I can't remember who said it, but the quote was, "Without music, there is no life."
No. Life is a rhythm. Everything's about timing and rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Exactly. You know, and people need to understand that.
James Brown said that. Life is the rhythm, and the rhythm is the song.
Mm-hmm.
That's a James Brown quote. You know, and I'm
From a long time ago.
Yes, indeed.
I was sitting there trying to think when he done that.
I'm a big James Brown fan.
I like James Brown, but I wasn't a big fan. I think back then I was more, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. A lot of people will shoot me for saying this, but my mom had the original Beatles album, the original Elvis Presley Aloha in Hawaii album.
Nice.
And that's stuff I grew up listening to.
Right.
And then the first album I ever bought was Kiss Rock and Roll Over.
I'll be dang. That's cool.
And there's pictures somewhere. I turned my whole bedroom into a poster, and it was nothing but Kiss everywhere, except for the Farrah faucet.
There you
I
go.
had to have the Farrah faucet.
I had Daisy Duke.
Yeah, and that's what my whole bedroom was, and I was just a Kiss fanatic. You know, it was just.
I think most rock kids in the 70s that were into rock in general, it was Kiss mania.
Yeah.
Kiss everything. Kiss
Well, it was the Kiss Army. And
yeah, all that stuff. You had Kiss in space, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean,
it's unbelievable.
Gene Simmons was a marketing mastermind.
Absolutely he was. Absolutely he was. I got a friend of mine, Kent Dearman. You know, he's him and my dad went to school together back in the 80s, and you know, he still got Kiss lunch boxes, the metal ones. Like
Yeah.
He's the biggest Kiss fan I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he still got all that old Kiss stuff.
It's amazing. Oh, dude. We've been doing almost 2.5 hours. You know that, right?
Have we?
Yeah.
Well, man, I've had a good time. Well, you said you could talk for up to 4 hours. I figured I'd challenge you a little bit.
I think my longest podcast was Omada Films, 2 hours, 58 minutes.
I'll be damned. Well, we're close.
About indie movie making stuff.
We're going to go 259, damn it. Oh, goodness. Well, it's been fun. I greatly appreciate you having me come on.
Dude, I'm glad you showed up.
I think we covered everything that people may want to know, I think.
Well, if not, you're welcome back.
Well,
We'll talk about shit again. I mean, I like people to listen to the podcast, have good guests on that have good stories, and hopefully you learn something, you laugh, and maybe you get a cold chill every now and then. Who knows?
Right.
Because somebody's got a story of something and somebody can relate to it.
Right.
You know, and I think it's awesome.
Well, I definitely want to give a big shout out to my fans, you know, and friends and fans that have
Hang on.
supported me. Oh.
Here, I'm going to put the camera on you. You look at that camera right there? Well, I got to put my fat finger in there.
That's right. Well, I just want to give a big shout out to my friends and fans that have supported me over the years, and especially since Slickson Revolver is actually off the ground now,
Right.
and the record's about to drop. And my friends and family, you know, my mom and dad have supported me. You know, my wife Jen, you know, she takes care of the kids and stuff. You know, and for them taking care of that, so I can even go and do a lot of the stuff that I'm even doing.
Oh, it's a lot of leg work, dude.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, so I want to give a shout out to my friends and family for that, and all the folks in Jacksonville that have supported us through this, and for my guitarist Zach Lane for joining me on this deal. My drummer Egon and Ashton, everybody that's been involved with bringing this thing together. If without everybody's participation and support, I wouldn't even be sitting here right now.
I know.
I want to give a shout out to my manager, Tara, for believing in me when I don't even have a damn label support. I don't have 500,000 followers, but she heard Crossroads and Freebird, and she was like, I remember I was searching through Facebook, and I sent my stuff off to several different managers, music managers, and most of them read it, just never responded, which is pretty typical. And then out of nowhere, she's like, hey, I love this song, can we talk? And then next thing you know, here we are, and she's working hard. She's opening up doors of opportunity and everything. And so I want to give a big shout out to her for doing that. And shout out to you for bringing me on.
Oh,
the
dude,
show.
I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
And everybody that supported me, Dave Fowler, Dane Bryant, my producer, Kent Wells, who's the producer for Dolly Parton. He's been here, from what I've read, he's been her producer since 1980.
Yeah. He's phenomenal.
I don't know if that's accurate, but for what I've read, he's worked with her since 1980. He's been producing her, I believe, since then.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, dude.
And he's my producer. I worked with him directly, hands-on with this album. It wasn't, from a distance. I mean, he actually, I've been in studio 4 times. He was in there 3 out of the 4.
Awesome.
The only time he wasn't in there, he was actually at Oakland, California with Steve Perry in his studio.
Yeah.
So
that's one man I've always wanted to meet.
Me too.
I've always wanted to meet Steve Terry. You want to go out with Steve Terry?
I would give both of my nuts. I would give both of my nuts to meet that man.
I would too. I mean, he's just because when I was, oh God, when they first come out with Loving, Touching, Squeezing, I think I was like 15, 16, and my voice hadn't dropped. And I could sing.
You could sing the notes.
Right there in those notes. And I mean, it was awesome. Opened up so many opportunities for me when I was younger. But then my voice dropped.
Yeah. So that's what's weird about me. Like this is my general talking voice, and then when I can go up to those ranges, I've had people like, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, I don't know how I do it other than the good Lord gave me a gift. I mean, that's, and like, I remember when I hate to even keep rambling on, but I'm going to touch on this just for a second.
Oh, you're fine. Go for it.
When I was about 13, I got Journey's Greatest Hits Live record. And the first song on there was, I think it was Escape, the song Escape. And I listened to it and I was like, God, I love this dude's voice. Like the range is incredible. But the song that I come across was a song called Mother, Father.
Mother.
Yes.
Father.
Yes. But it was the live version from Houston, 1981.
Now that Houston concert footage, that's big deal now, man.
Yeah. I used to watch it religiously all the time, mainly studying Steve's voice and his charisma. And I use a lot of his movements. I understand why when he would sing high notes, he would tilt his head back. He wouldn't hold the mic straight ahead,
right? Because
he projected so hard, so strong, it would overpower the mic. So he would turn it down flat. Yeah. You don't believe me? Look this up. Live from Houston, 1981. He would have the mic like this, like flat.
Yeah.
He would never have it directly at him, and he would tilt his head back and he would raise an arm up. I discovered. You may think I might think I'm crazy. You singers, I might listen to this, but I swear to God, this works.
Yeah, it does.
I tried it. I always wonder why the hell when he would hit those really high notes, he would raise one arm up and kind of lean back
and hold that note
and hold that shit, showing off. He was showing off. Right, he was, and I don't blame him. I would too. And he would do that, and he would lean back. What it was, it actually opens up your lungs and makes your dynamic, your mass in your body bigger, where you can breathe in more and exhale more. Yeah. And I do that a lot when I sing live. I tilt my head back, and a lot of times I raise one arm up like that. I copy Steve Perry, and I thought a lot of people think that's just dramatic showmanship movements. Yeah. Everything that he done was on purpose.
Oh yeah.
And And he would always, when he would sing really high notes, he would always tilt his head back. He would never sing it straight on, because if you can make your airway perfectly straight and as straight as possible, without it having to come up and swoop, you can get more range and more power behind your voice, where you don't have to sing in falsetto. Most singers that are high range singers, a lot of times their range is in falsetto. You know, I don't do a lot of falsetto. I sing full on, you know, from here, and because I just don't get off the falsetto.
Yeah, I can't.
I like to show the power of the voice. You know, I like to sing like Steve Perry. That's the way I like to sing, and so that's kind of my tip of the hat to him. You know, if it wasn't for Steve Perry, I would have never pursued singing in the high range. But when I discovered Mother Father, the end of that song, he hit some stupid high on the outro. It ain't but about a 20-second outro, but a lot of people think he's singing in a falsetto. He is in the studio cut. He is, but live, he projected full on. And I was like, I used to practice that religiously when I was a teenager. And then when I actually hit it the first time, I was about 14 or 15. When I started singing it, and I realized, wait a minute, I'm actually hitting these notes. And my nuts had dropped by then, so don't even start. Those you dudes out there, don't even go, your nuts hadn't dropped by then. Well, yeah, they did. You know, my nuts had more than dropped by then.
Well, see, mine dropped, but I hadn't been smoking. I hadn't been hitting a whole lot of alcohol, all that other stuff.
See, that's what killed me about Steve Perry. You know, he drank expensive wines and liquors, and he admits that he loved stiff, strong wines and liquors, and he smoked. I don't know how the hell he was able to sing like that and smoked. I have no clue. It blew my mind. I was like, you smoked? Yeah, he did. You know, which hell, who didn't in the 80s? Most people did. Everybody did. You know, so I'm like, damn, you could sing and perform like that, you know, and, you know, while smoking and partying and having a good time. I was like, damn. Yeah. And so I decided, you know, when I discovered I could sing like that, I was like, you know, I think I'm on, because I remember when I was a teenager, you know, bands like Shinedown, Buck Cherry, you know, bands like that were big, and none of them sang like that. Yeah. You know, Brent Smith from Shinedown had a good range, but nothing. He didn't sing in like Steve Perry or Brad Delp from Boston. None of those guys. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna pursue that style of vocals. Yeah. Because I can't wait to see you live, man. You know, because I can't. You know, I love singing like that because I like to watch the reactions of people when you hit certain notes. They're like, "Wow!" Like I like to deliver the experience to the listener that I received as a listener from Steve Perry. Exactly. I want people to feel the way I did. Yep. When I listened to Steve Perry. Yeah. So that's the best way I know how to put it. That'll be awesome. So. Well, I can't wait to see you live, brother. Thank you, man. I hope you can make it down to the show on the 29th. Yeah, I might be able to. It depends on how much Tara Sweets talks to me. July 29th, Jacksonville, Florida. Y'all just follow my social media pages. I'll keep you updated. That'll work. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. And you're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much. And I've got it worked out now where people can actually phone you every now and then. So, oh, that'd be cool. Limited people are going to have my phone number. So that means that people like you, Tattered Sons, Ash Taylor, you know, y'all got my phone number. Sure. We might I might send y'all a text and say, hey, y'all want to call in today? Who knows? Cool, yeah. We'll have some fun with it. Cool. But it's awesome. And we're going to get out of here. Sounds good. Because I've got to do the bathroom. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you very much. No problem. And we are going to take it off. Listen at me. We're going to take off, and y'all have a good afternoon or morning or whatever it is when you're listening to me. And Brandon Miller was on with the Slickson Revolver. I cannot talk. What the hell? Y'all look forward to all of his social media and everything. It's going to be all on the sites and everything. You can find him at Slickson Revolver on YouTube. Brandon Miller on YouTube. It'll be Slickson Revolver on
Slickson
YouTube.
Revolver
And,
on YouTube.
Brandon Miller on Facebook and Slickson Revolver on Instagram. We also have a website too. You can Google Slickson Revolver website, and it'll pop up on Google. We have everything there. Our EPK is there, song links, everything's there.
All right, cool beans. So we're out of here. Y'all like, share, subscribe, help out your favorite artist, and we'll catch y'all later. See ya, bye.